Hello, everybody, and that never gets old. Welcome to Morning Kills, and tonight with me as a special guest, it
It's
is,
not nighttime. The sun is out.
you know what? Yeah, I realized that. I'm used to the whole late night talks thing, but
Right.
being
You
that
used to saying tonight. So today,
welcome.
I'm
Today
special.
we are talking about uh, two things instead of one. Two things because they relate to horror, thriller, kind of stuff, I guess. Oh, whatever. Welcome to Morning Kills. Got my cup of coffee
Hi,
from.
Carrie.
Babe.
Today is a special day because Mr. Phoebe is across the bloody pond. Oi.
Oi.
So you feeling British yet?
Uh, internally, yes.
He felt this.
I got all kinds of British food in me.
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff. I can say about 95 of it. See, if 95% seemed appealing. The rest of it, I'd
What
have to
parts
try it.
didn't look appealing? What didn't look appealing?
I'd have to go back to that picture, but there were some things where I was like, eh.
The one from today or the one from yesterday?
I don't know if it was today or yesterday. You showed some pudding thing and then some other stuff in that
Oh
picture
yeah,
on
they
Twitter.
don't like no. When you say pudding, I have no idea what you mean because they just use the word for just food. They're like, this is a pudding from this place. This is a pudding from that. Everything is a pudding. There's no consistency to a pudding. Pudding is whatever you want pudding to be.
Crazy stuff.
Like you
See,
could make somebody a cheeseburger and be like, this is Zod pudding.
oh, hey, I might
Yep,
have to. I might have to look into that.
yep.
Apparently, I have my own
You could
band.
make
Did you
you
see
could make
that?
somebody a pizza with kryptonite on it, and you could be like Zod pudding. There are no rules for pudding here.
Yes, there is.
Dude, you
I think
gave me a pudding that was like a hockey puck of meat, and it's called blood pudding. And then you gave me a pudding that is like a pocket of bread, and it's called Yorkshire pudding. How is bread and meat both pudding? That's
I mean,
ridiculous. We have one type of pudding and many flavors. Pudding?
So welcome to the most cultured show on YouTube today,
Oh yeah.
Morning
Oh
Kills.
yeah.
Because hey, here this morning, mornings kills. Everybody knows. So grab your cup of coffee and let's break down some Last of Us.
Okay,
And I'm gonna
hold on.
spoil the shit.
I need to rip the band-aid off right away. This is my favorite episode so far. And you know why.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I have some small gripes. Once
No,
again,
no,
being a game fan.
she's got a joke book. I don't care about any of your gripes.
um, you know, so I have some small gripes, but overall, I thought it was very good. We're
So
actually
I guess
seeing,
we're not getting flashbacks anymore to start
which
the
is
show.
good, which is good. I think the
Well,
flashbacks serve their
I
purpose.
wanted to see him bomb the city
I mean, I'm still waiting for that one. Maybe we'll get it later, or
because
maybe there'll be another
what I was
character who
hoping
will.
for was that they bomb the city and then those news reports like go on to social media like, oh, I was just sitting in my home and I got blown up, boom, and it was live on whatever, so people are seeing it all over the world, and then they start sharing it, and it's like, did you see what happened in Jakarta? They just killed 100 million people with bombs, and I'll be like, yep, and you're next.
So yeah, this episode definitely was good. So I guess we'll do The Last of Us first because, to be honest, this episode was pretty lean, pretty to the point. There's not a lot of things to analyze, and I think the second
It was
part of
hilarious.
yeah, the second part of the review is going to be more, which is going to be Knock at the Cabin. That's going to be more in depth. This is going to be a little bit shorter because, to be honest with you, this episode was great in the fact that, unlike last week, this just got straight to the point, and we knew it was coming. Last week's episode has been highly debated. Some people calling it useless. We know the people, and it's funny because when I watched their reviews, I watched the Geeks and Gamers reviews because I like knowing what the other side is thinking, so to speak. And it was hilarious that despite them liking the episode, and then I watched their episode 4 review, they were like, well, the episode was good, but it really doesn't serve a purpose. And I go, then you missed the whole point because the purpose is not necessarily the action in that episode. The purpose is the theme of love, protecting people and stuff, which clearly is going to be the theme
What's
throughout
that?
this show.
What's that have to do with her
So,
telling jokes?
I'm going to get to that, but this felt more connected to the overall story. So we're actually starting to see Bella Ramsey really do a pretty good Ellie because if you guys haven't played the game, there is various cutscenes, and especially that part where they were in the woods and she starts telling the book of puns, and that is a huge thing in the game, and that's what breaks the ice. And Joel and Ellie start bonding because he's old and he's got that hard exterior, and he's like, "No, your cargo. I'm not gonna get attached." And then you see that final joke, and I'm not gonna lie, Bitchy actually watched this episode with me, and she was laughing too. We both
She
laughed.
laughed
It
at a
was a
joke.
fucking funny pun.
I don't even remember what the last joke was, but I laughed my ass off at it.
When she was like, "Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?" And
Oh,
he
did you
just,
know diarrhea is genetic?
yeah, it runs in your genes.
It's still funny.
I'm sorry, that was great. Actually,
That's like the
it's kind
best
of
one.
funny. I think that's probably for me the highlight of the episode. As strange as it is, because there's a huge action scene. We'll get to that, but I think for me the pun was the highlight of the episode.
Okay, we'll just do it right now. Also, my favorite scene was when she breaks out the jokes initially. That's my
Oh,
favorite scene.
oh yeah,
Because
because
I was not expecting it at all. And I'm just
he's like,
sitting
"You're gonna
there
stay
like,
right here. You're not moving." And then she starts
well,
telling the puns, and he's
okay.
like,
Hello, Christine.
"Hey, what's up, Christine? Welcome, welcome. This is a spoiler review for episode 4 of The Last of Us, and also we'll be spoiling the shit at out of Knock at the Cabin. I'm going to finally tell you what my issues was because when I did my non-spoiler review, much like this movie, I had to be super fucking vague because any little thing is going to wreck the entirety of that. So now I can finally get into it. I gave the movie a 9. Um, and I'll get into my reasons as why when we start to talk about the end of it. But getting back to Last of Us, this episode was pretty good. I had one major gripe with this episode. Okay, so in the game, uh, Joel uses bricks to bash in the face of enemy NPCs. And like Jeremy Johns said, and I agree with him, my point deduction comes that I did not see a brick hit somebody's face repeatedly. Until I get that scene, I'm going to have to deduct points because a staple of the game is you pick up a brick in silence and you beat that fucker over the head until he's dead. And
When you
they were
say
in that building. There was bricks. He could have
when
he used a
my
knife.
question is, when you say that fucker, do you mean a regular human or a zombified human?
I mean, you could use it on anybody, but typically it works better on humans because you try that shit with a clicker. I've tried that doesn't turn out well. You can only throw them, and then it ends bad. Don't ever try to hit a clicker with a brick. I'll tell you firsthand, it doesn't work. Shank them or something. Hola, Carmen. How are you? Um,
Oh, Carmen.
But no, in this episode, I only deducted a point because we were in a building, and I can't believe Jeremy Johns he got to it before I could because I was thinking that I'm like, oh, he's gonna use the environment, and I mean he uses the guy's knife, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I can't believe I'm saying this to Perp's point. My other issue is this is an HBO show, and I don't get why they did not show Joel murdering that dude. I think it would have like really honed in how ruthless his character is. Like I get it. We're seeing it from her perspective where he says go in the little hidey hole thing, but I still would have liked to see that. I think it would have drove home how vicious he is, because he gutted that guy. Like, you heard the noises, and I get like
You
trying to
think
be
he gutted
effective with not
him?
showing too much. You use your
Why would
imagination,
you
but I
gut
would have
him?
liked to see that guy.
I thought he just like stabbed him in the throat.
No, he stabbed him several times, and you heard the like the scraping of the knife. So he probably like stabbed him, went like this. There was some brutal shit, but we don't know because they didn't show it. And that's my issue. It's like, this is basically an R-rated show. Why are we cutting away from some quality violence?
Dude, dude, it is a money issue. Do you have any idea how much it costs to kill somebody in that fashion?
I
You know how
mean,
much it costs to
probably
kill
as
somebody
much
in
as it
that
would
fashion
cost to make
without
the
them being on
creatures.
screen? It's super cheap to kill somebody off screen because you just have to add sound effects.
Like, I'm telling you right now, we get to the final with what I know how the game ends, and they're saying that they're keeping close. All reviewers said the ending keeps very close to the ending of the game. I better see some brutality in the last act. Like, they better go balls deep. There better be heads getting blown off, people begging for their life, and Joel's just fucking killing motherfuckers, because I'm going to be really super pissed, because right now, the violence, I've got to say, has been a little bit underwhelming for a game that's notorious. Like, the game's thing is the brutality. It's like the thing in the like, every game has a thing. Every game you play, right? Resident Evil, Silent Hill, all of them have a thing. And I feel like the Last of Us thing is how brutal you have to be in this world, how brutal Joel is, and in the end, how brutal he is to protect the one that he loves. And they're kind of leading
Right.
up to it.
I
I don't know if
want to
it's
see
budget.
how brutal he is when he's protecting Tess like the note told him to.
Like, I mean, that was hilarious.
That's
I
a
like,
joke, guy.
ooh. It's like, ooh, you're late on that one. Big fail, Joel.
Yes, we're going to talk about the new Bautista movie after The Last of Us, Carmen.
Yes, we're going to talk about the new Bautista movie after The Last of Us, but for right now, we're just talking The Last of Us. I will give spoiler warnings because we are going to spoil the shit out of it.
Put the banner
But
on the screen.
yeah, we'll have a banner. But for right now, we're just going into the episode 4 of Last of Us, and then we'll go into Knock at the Cabin. So, oh, and I'm also going to do a comparison to the book. So if you haven't read the book, PB, who will never read a book, you can kind of get the gist of the differences in the movie. And the fundamental difference is the whole entire ending. So, anyways, getting back to The Last of Us, I like that. I did have to say, you could tell the budget went into that car scene, and I know you watch the end of the episode like I do. Like, dude,
Where I watched the end of the episode, I didn't get to see the after credits stuff.
okay, so the after credits they were explaining, and a lot of it went into the setup for the guy who came out and said, "Help me." First off, I love how they portray Joel as smart. Thank you. Someone just comes out of nowhere, like a random alley, and says, "Help me." First of all, I just want to know how the fuck that's a good trap. Like, I get it, you're playing off people's kindness, but at this stage of the apocalypse, a lot of people probably figured out by now you're full of shit if you just come out of a random ass alley behind a dumpster and you're like, "Oh, I need help." I was like, dude, I spotted that. I was like, "Oh no, run that motherfucker over." When he said,
That's what I
"Woke him
thought he
up,"
was going to do. I thought he was going to run him over.
that's what I thought too. But I'll give them credit. I liked how they had the backup of the spike strips just in case you figured out they were full of shit. They had the guy up top shooting with the sniper rifle. All good ambush stuff. Still terrible shots. It was kind of funny because Betchy brought that point up. She goes, "Oh God, these guys are terrible." And then Joel shoots, and that motherfucker hits everyone. And she's like, "I go Desert Storm. That motherfucker." You did not waste a shot. Like, you could tell these guys have ammo because they're just sitting there shooting all around. And Joel just pops up, shoots that guy, bam, drops him, like, done. Shoot, pops up,
One
shoots the
bullet.
other guy. it's very refreshing to see a show where you have a main character who has a backstory, like they were in the service, and they actually fucking shoot it that way because everybody knows, even if you're a hunter, right? You only take a shot that you know you're gonna hit because, like for you, right? If you shoot
Right.
and you don't hit
I'm
the
not.
deer,
Right. I agree. I'm not Cyril Figgis. I do not create suppressive fire.
yeah. But at the same time, right? If you have a good shot for that motherfucker and you're like, oh, this 10-pointer's coming home, and you fucking look, you're like,
Well, I wish it would have been a 10-pointer. Like the spread was wide enough for it to be a 10-pointer. It broke off the inner one. So, I mean, in reality, because it's supposed to be 3 inches to count as a point, it's only technically a 6-pointer. But on the bright side, it does have a Valentine's Day wreath around its head now.
so look at that. So it's great to with our expertise because we both know how to shoot, so we can both say the shooting in the show is pretty fucking accurate. They do a very
Pretty
good
good.
job. We meet a brand new character. Kathleen, FYI, is not in the games, but she is played by an actress I really like. If you guys watch the show Yellow Jackets, she's in that show. She's
Nope.
fucking phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Probably the best show of last year. Um, but she's a great actress. And in this role, in the game, this group does exist, but they don't have a leader. And it's just kind of there for you to play through and have to get through to get to Henry, who you'll meet in the next episode. We saw him at the end of this episode. But but I do like the fact that the group that is chasing Henry has a face and they give more of a backstory to why this group is hunting him down. And Henry supposedly gave info to the federal people about Kathleen's brother and got him killed. So she is hunting him down. And can we talk about like her acting was stellar when she went and blew that doctor away? I'll give it. That was a fucking great scene. Like, because I expected it, but I didn't because she did the whole didn't say shit after the initial talk. She just walks in and went boom, and then walks back out. And I was like, oh, this bitch is cold. Like,
No fucking around.
I see why you're the leader.
No, I wasn't expecting it. Especially when you see her face right away and you're like, it's Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, you know who that is? You watch 2.5 Men? That's the
Yep.
psychopath neighbor. If anyone's going to survive the apocalypse, it's her.
It's great because she's in so many things, and I don't think people realize, like, she's the type of actress you see and you're like, I've seen her in other stuff, and she's normally really good. She always plays these roles really well. So seeing her in this, I go, oh yeah, she's probably gonna be like the unbalanced one, and we were right. She she doesn't give a shit about like, and the other thing they made interesting was that even though she was kind of cold in that moment, you could tell why she's a leader because when she sees her two men dead from Joel, uh, she has this look about her where she feels really bad. You could see that like look in her face, like she cares about all of the people she loses.
I mean,
And,
at
and I
that
think,
point, you don't got a lot of people left. You probably have enough care to go around.
yeah, it's very cool how they do that whole like dual thing. Um, so that was pretty good. The scene where she opens the thing and you see the ground moving, I know what that is. And then I saw what next week's episode is going to be, the little previews, and I go, oh, they are getting ready to introduce one of my favorite creatures in all of The Last of Us.
Hello, cement shoes.
Hello, Cement Shoes. Welcome to the Last of Us breakdown and spoilers for Knock at the Cabin. So sit back, relax. It's going to be a bit longer. So yeah, I really.
That's what he said.
And yeah, we're we continue with the puns. So, yeah, I did like the duality between that. I thought it was pretty good. Um, a lot of just some solid stuff. One thing that Bitchy commented when Joel put the glass down, she looked and she goes, "What is he doing?" And I go, "Oh," and then she looked and she goes, "Oh, that's smart." It was like, yes, some survivalist shit, right? You're at the end of the world. You're gonna put down some kind of like alarm system for when you're sleeping in a random building. I like how they showed him like putting the glass down, and she's
Well,
like, "Oh,
yeah.
what are you doing?" And then she puts it together. But I liked the little touches, right, where you see people being smart in the apocalypse. Because how many apocalypse shows do we watch where people do stupid things to make things happen? It's just like, why would you do that? But Joel sets down the little trap. He's he's got the gun by his side, all of that. And then essentially the episode ends. This was another deviation from the game. In the game, he climbs into a window and then they have the gun to his head. In the show, I think it makes a little bit more sense. They kind of snuck behind him because they were probably already in the building, so they knew all the routes, completely got around the glass. And that scene where the boy is holding the gun and goes, shh, that was exactly from the game. That's like shot for shot how that meeting happens. So they find Henry and his son, and yeah. So all in all, what did you think of the episode? We'll get into a grade. There's not really much to talk about. It was a quicker episode. It got right down to business.
No, yeah, it was definitely like compared to what they had been doing, it seemed like a short episode, didn't it? It
Yeah, it was
felt
only like
short.
45 minutes, all in
Okay.
all.
I didn't time it and I didn't I didn't watch it on regular HBO Max, so it's not like it gives you the runtime right before you play. So I have no idea exactly how long it is, but it felt short. But like you said, it wasn't full of any filler.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
just
unless you're the kind of dickhead that's going to say that the entire episode is filler, and if this entire episode is filler, all of the episodes were filler. If this one is, like, what happened in the other episodes that doesn't happen in this one? It's not like you didn't see any action scenes. It's not like you didn't see anyone die. I mean, the only thing that we didn't see was a zombie attack.
yes, which by the promo I saw, oh boy, next week's gonna probably be a slightly longer because they are introducing my favorite, we'll say zombie or infected, whatever you want to call them. They're introducing my favorite class of them. I'm curious how they're going to. That's probably where the budget went because there's a thing that they do. Don't want to ruin it in case the show shows it, but there's a thing
Yep,
they
don't
do, and
ruin it.
it's gonna be pretty cool to see if they can pull it off. It'll probably take a lot of effects, which is why we get so many cutaways. Because I do appreciate the budget is saving itself for the visuals and the zombie action. They're really trying to highlight that stuff and do the best they can because they got a season two, but this isn't a Game of Thrones situation where the first season of anything, okay, and this is what I tried to explain. For a first season, they put a lot of faith in this, which has been rewarded. The numbers are really good. Uh, so they are conserving, you could tell, the budget. But I think when you get to season two and the budget gets bigger, obviously, because that's what HBO does, I think they'll have more room to do a lot more cool shit. But for this one, they're using the budget very concisely to highlight the things that they need to. You got to figure the landscapes and those shots are expensive themselves. They shot a
Oh
lot of this
yeah,
on
that's the one
location.
thing that I was thinking about when they pull up to the city and they're just driving through. So when the episode started and they took off, I literally said out loud, I was like, "Oh, at least you won't have to deal with any traffic." And then they got to city, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Okay, so I was exactly entirely wrong because it is heavy traffic all the time now, like
It's like
constant heavy traffic." I was like, "Shit!" I was like, "Okay, I will rephrase. at least you don't have to deal with any other drivers.
It's like a never-ending gridlock. It's like an
Oh my
infinite
God.
gridlock.
I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it. He pulls up. I was like, fuck. And then I'm looking around like, holy fuck, is all of this real? Like, how many of these cars are actually here and aren't CGI'd in? Because you can make a car look very, very real CGI when it's just sitting there not moving.
And that's the thing that's so spectacular about this too, is that like even the car, like a lot of the CGI is hard to tell where the practical starts and the CGI starts, or where the CGI ends and the practical is. And I'll give
Yep.
them credit. That is fucking tough to do. And to make it photorealistic, you could it feels like they're in these states, that they're in this kind of, and they even accommodate for where traffic would be heavier versus where there'd be miles of nothing. Like it is actually excellent geography wise. And I know you have mentioned that in shows, like geographically some things can be off and it takes you out. But this,
Oh my God.
Um, and I will give Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers credit. He did point out something I didn't even notice. So there's a sign when they get to, I forgot where they were going. Was it Ohio or Louisiana? One of those.
I don't know. We're going west.
So there's a sign, right? And a big tower. And he screenshot the clip and he goes, "This was so realistic." And it had the gas station and then it said Arby's on the bottom and it said
Oh,
hosted
yeah.
by Arby's. And I was like, that really pulls you into the world because you go, I've seen that on the interstate. I've
Right.
seen that stop going through, and it's like, oh my god! And you got to picture. So now they paid that Arby's just to have that one little clip that probably no one fucking noticed because I didn't pick up on it, but someone will and be like, hey, look at how realistic this is. It's the details that can make or break your show. And there's never a point where you don't feel like this could be somewhere where we live, like this is our world. They never break that immersion for me.
Not yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. So
We'll get there
so far
eventually, people.
so far so good. So how are you rating this episode this week? Because I know you were at,
9.
so we're back up to 9. I agree, 9. Like I said, my point deduction is I've got to see someone get smashed in the face with a brick. I know it's a gripe. I'm a gamer, whatever. Call it my gaming handicap, but it's like I just want to see him sneak up behind someone with a brick and just fucking bash that person right in the head. And I want to see the details. Like I want to see him like cave his skull in like super quietly. You know, the like those stealth
Uh-huh.
sections where he just like sneaks up. The MCP stops because they stopped their little
Yeah, the
route,
meter
and then he can.
starts going. You're like, oh, he heard me. He heard me step on that one piece of gravel, son of a bitch. Okay, let me sit behind him 6 inches, not moving for a minute. Okay, the meter's gone down and murder.
Like, dude, we get an episode like that, dude. 10 out of 10. I just want to see like a stealth section episode where he just goes in because you build shanks and shit. Like I want to see it. Like he builds a shank and he just comes out like shanks a guy, goes around, fucking
I
smashes
want to
another
see
one
it.
over the head, drags the body so it doesn't get like if we get something like that. I'd be like, all right, this show 10 out of 10. Fucking change my answer for everything to tens.
No, like, I think my second favorite scene is when she shoots that guy.
Oh yeah. So everybody's complaint, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was another point before we started jumping over that I wanted to get to. Everyone's complaint was, well, Ellie doesn't seem guilty about things she does. She's not like the character. The character was more empathetic. Um, Kudos to Bella Ramsey. She pretends to be fine. Like she wipes off her tears immediately, but Joel could sense that thing that people get. Like she basically murdered someone. She didn't kill him. She didn't finish it, but she hurt him enough for Joel to do the deed and kind of shield her from that part. But
Sure.
it kind of, when you take someone's life, it snaps you into this is real, because for her, right, she's been in this safe zone. She's talked about how she's going to do this and that, but she's never actually done the deed. And you could see she has that moment where she's like, I just basically sent this guy to death. Like, and even just shooting, she hesitates for that moment. And I think that was all good things to build. Like, she's not completely heartless. She is a kid. She still helped murder somebody. This still has an emotional impact on her. And then
Oh,
when he
that's
sits
quite
down
obvious.
and he tells her, like, it's not your fault. You know, you didn't actually kill him. I kind of offed him, trying to make her feel better. But at the same time, like, letting her know, like, this is what we're going to have to do. You're going to have to take people's lives. And these aren't monsters. These are people. Like, yeah,
You can
dude
be
probably had
both.
friends. You know, he probably had friends, whatever, in his little fucking group, but that doesn't matter. It's us or them. You got
It
this
doesn't
important
matter.
mission. I mean, look, in my opinion, um, if I am the cure, right? For all intents and purposes, she's the cure. She's humanity's last hope. It's a big deal. Like, one guy versus the world. I'm sorry, that motherfucker's got to go. And not only that, they intended on taking their shit and God knows what else to them when they set that trap up. So it's fair game. If you looked at it without the
Yeah.
apocalypse, it's self-defense 100%. They were trying to rob them, and who knows what else, because he said that. When she asked, like, have you done this before, and he looks away, he goes, I've been on both ends. And I was like, yeah, so Joel knows they're gonna fucking kill you, they're gonna take your shit, and who knows what else they were gonna do to them. Could have been some torture in there. You don't know.
Oh, you can almost guarantee there'd be at least a little light torture.
So I mean, it's very interesting, and it's setting up that moral dilemma, like, you know, how far is too far? Is this okay? And all of that stuff. I think it did a good job. Yeah, I
I think
definitely
it is
would say.
quite clear that it is not okay to live in the apocalypse.
Oh, no, 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 nobody wants to do that. But I think it sets up the loose morality you have to have in order to survive in this world. Like, you
Oh,
know,
yes.
society isn't a thing. So when society breaks down, you do have to make your own moral choices. And that's where it depends on the person, right? What are you morally willing to do? How far are you morally willing to go for self? This is all self
Mm.
preservation at this
Oh,
point. This isn't like, oh,
I mean,
society says this is bad.
for self-defense, I'm going as far as I need to. That's it. Period. Like, I'm not putting in the extra effort to go further. Double tap. That's all.
So once again, it always comes back to Zombieland. Make sure you double tap. So yeah, we give this episode a 9. It's pretty good, very solid. We're back up to 9s. What did we
No,
give
not
last
pretty
week's
good. This
episode?
episode was great at minimum.
The last episode gave what, like an 8?
I think I gave the last one a 7.
Or yeah, it might have been 7. 7. But we agreed, even with it having really nothing to do with the overall thing, we enjoyed it. So no episode has
Right. I
been.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was a good story, but I don't, unless something is going to happen in the future, like that's going to come back and there's going to be something where you're like, oh man, Bill, yeah. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they were just telling that one like localized story, and now they're moving on to tell the rest of the story. Like,
So
yeah,
if
Joel
there's
does know how to act in a civilized society in the apocalypse because we've seen him do it now.
and he knows how to get shit done, which we saw in this. Like,
Yeah.
he's not just as brutal, that he can switch between different roles very seamlessly to survive. Because what does it all come down to? Survival. So I thought that it did a great job. Great stuff. We're back up to nines. What up, Killy Chow? What up? So let's talk about my boy. Let's talk about my homie. Like, look, I told everybody I got a serious bias for this director. M. Night Shyamalan has always been a very interesting character. So, as part of this full spoiler review, and let me put up spoilers. Why don't
There
I
we go.
have?
What's
I
up, Kitty now?
I have no spoilers here. Let me just edit this and put spoilers. There we go. Do a little bit of editing magic.
Spoilers will work. Spoilers will
Okay.
work just fine.
Okay. So I'm going to get into a little bit of history. Yes, we will be doing late night talks on Friday because, uh,
When?
I'm working on it. I got a big jam-packed episode planned for this Friday. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I got to catch up on.
I
We're
do
going to be
like
talking.
jam.
We're going to be talking about Mr. Ezra, my thoughts on him staying. I got a lot to say. Thought about doing a separate video, but I'm like, you know what? No, this is a late night talks rant, so don't worry, we'll get back to it. But so I'm going to give a little bit of history first behind Mr. M. Night Shyamalan. Go kind of loosely through
Whoa,
his
whoa, whoa,
films.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. These people in the chat need to go and watch The Last of Us if they're not watching it. I don't care
Yes.
how you want to watch it. I really do not. Find it someplace somehow and check
I'm not
out
going to
this.
say that YouTube may have some videos because I checked them out that say episode whatever and they actually play episode whatever, but there might be some if they haven't been pulled down yet because YouTube's becoming a prick with that. You might be able to see this previous episode if you put in The Last of Us episode 3 and then just kind of look down. You may or may not find a video or two that may or may not have the episode in its entirety. Not going to say whether or not
It
it's true.
sounds like you're the one who put it there the way you're saying it.
So,
Maybe not.
but so let me talk. We're getting into our spoiler section for Knock at the Cabin. I will be spoiling it so I can give you my reasons of my rating when I gave my quick blurb after I saw it. I saw it on Thursday. Thank you for everyone's comment. I had another reviewer actually comment on my video, and he has a pretty good size channel, a little bit more subs than me, and we we talked back and forth in the comments and brought up some good points. But I'm gonna do a breakdown. But first, I have to frame something. Let's talk
Uh-oh.
about M Night. M. Night is an interesting director because he has one of two modes. Either his movie is going to be really good or it's going to be really fucking terrible, and there's never an in between. I feel like this might be his first in between movie from what I've read and seen from other reviews. But pretty much his career is either it's a really fucking bad movie or it's a really good movie. Either people really fucking hate the movie or they really love the movie. There's never a fucking in between with this guy. I feel like
Nope.
he gets shit because he's built his career on twists, and if there isn't a twist, people lose their shit.
Hello.
And I don't think that that's fair, and I'll get into my reasons on that. But I mean, let's just think about it. This man made a Hallmark movie in cinema. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Sixth Sense changed a lot of things about how movies were done, and particularly how ghost stories were told. I don't care who you are. If you were around when the movie first came out and you first saw it in the theater, I can guarantee you, I will put money down. There's not a fucking person in the world who figured out Bruce Willis was the ghost. I, I don't care. Everyone who maybe you never saw it and it's your first time, if you told me you figured out the twist, unless you looked it up, you're full of shit. Nobody fucking figured out the twist, okay? Back when it came out, no, everybody sat in the theater. I remember we all came out and said, "Wow, why didn't we put it together?" I mean, the clues were there. He said, "I see
Yep.
dead people." But nobody put it together that Bruce Willis was dead because the way he shot it made it just appear Bruce Willis survived, and he's a and that's the cleverness. And then one of my favorite movies, I'd probably say over The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable. The plot twist there was it was a comic book movie the whole time. Samuel L. Jackson was the villain. Bruce Willis was the hero. They were having a real life superhero duel, but it was
Oh
intellectual. Like, he has brilliant movies, and then you have The Last Airbender. We don't talk about, doesn't exist. He
yeah.
has that movie never happened. You could sit there and tell me
No,
it happened. It doesn't
no, I would
exist.
never.
It never happened. We have the one with Will Smith. I don't even. It's so bad I forgot the title. But the one with him and his son, where basically he wanted to turn his son into a movie star. I will not blame Shyamalan for that. Will Smith had a lot of interference in that script, and he's good at slapping people, not good at writing stories.
Yikes.
uh, oh man, the picture of Will Smith probably comes across the stream and go, "Oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna slap the white out." That.
So you got two
Well, I didn't
background
mention.
pictures?
I mean, I didn't mention his wife, so I should be fine. But yeah, so we have those movies. The Visit was very divisive. Some people like that movie, some people don't. I liked it. I thought it was a very good look at found footage. Have you ever seen The Visit with the old people and the two kids go over to visit them, and the old people wind up being crazy and escaped from a like an institution? You ever see The Visit?
The visit, the visit. Maybe.
Oh, the
I
Will
don't
Smith
remember
movie
all the
was
movies
After
I've
Earth.
seen over the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, but do you remember liking
Isn't
it? Because I
wait,
like,
isn't After Earth the Will Smith one?
yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of.
Oh,
Keely had the answer. Thank you, Keely. It was After Earth. It should have been called After Crap. That movie was fucking terrible. Um, it was bad. It
sounds
was
pretty
right up.
shitty.
It was terrible. But yeah, The Visit. I thought it was good. Did you have any glaring issues you could think of? I know it's been a while since that movie came out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I remember what happens in it.
Basically, the two kids, they go over to see the grandparents supposedly of the mother. The big plot twist, as he always has, is that they were not the grandparents. They murdered them, and they escaped from the job that the grandparents worked at, which was like this health care facility place, and they find the bodies. Yeah, it was a really interesting movie. Some people say that's when he returned to form, and then we got arguably one of the best performances. Uh, Fuck, I always forget the actor's name until I see it, and then I get mad. But the movie Split, one of my
Mhm.
favorites, the surprise sequel, and the plot twist was you get to the ending, right? They zoom into the fucking diner, the Unbreakable theme comes on, and I know PB loves connected universes.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and you see Dunn sitting in there, and they're talking about Mr. Glass, and that's when everyone who is an Unbreakable fan goes, "Oh shit, what? Wait, what's happening?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that such and such blew up the building. Oh, what was his name?" And Bruce Willis turns up to the lady and goes, "Mr. Glass," and I was like, "Oh, oh, he said it, he said it." But yeah, so the plot twist for Split was that it was the sequel to Unbreakable, and then we got Glass, and once again, very divisive. I liked the movie. Some people didn't get the point of the movie. They were like, "Why wasn't there a big fight at the end?" and blah blah blah. And it's like there was. It just wasn't in the building or what you thought it was going to be. But there was a fight. All of the characters fight. All of them died. That was kind of the point. It was a commentary on superhero movies, right? Like they always build up to this big battle, this Avengers kind of battle, and the plot twist is it happened in a small way, and then people found out superheroes are or enhanced people live in their world. I thought it was good. A lot of people were pissy. So I liked Glass. And then we got, oh my God, Old. Let me tell you, I did not even review Old.
What the heck is old?
So the premise of Old is that these people go to this island and everything starts accelerating where they're at. Um, so these two kids get together and they go from being 8 years old overnight to being like, I don't know, 16, 17. Then they have sex, and then one of the kids gives birth in super rapid succession because the island makes everything go quicker. Like 1 day equals like 7 years or some shit. And we got to see a birthing scene. There was a scene where um, someone had an infection because they were stabbed, and the infection, because the island speeds everything up, got really gnarly, and they kept on doing it as surgery, and it was just nasty. So Old, not one of my particular favorite movies. Once again, it was based on a book. So M. Night seems to be doing the adaptation thing. Um, much like PB, you feeling old right now? Hey, Mr. PB. Oh,
What's up?
there he is. PB's getting PB's getting old. Look at
Apparently,
it. So we
Did you fall asleep?
not quite.
at least there's someone there to keep you up, fucker. We
Yep.
still got we still gotta get through this. Okay, so we have Old. A lot of people did not like it. I did not like the movie. The twist was the pharmaceutical company found this place that sped people up, so they were testing drugs on them, and they could find out years worth of cures in 2 to 3 days. So that's
Yeah,
the
that's
whole plot
amazing.
twist. I fucking hated the movie. I thought it was
What a
very
twist.
poorly done.
Okay, well,
I did
this
not.
movie wasn't poorly done. It wasn't poorly done.
Okay, so hold on. Now we get to this movie. First off, let's talk about the man that everyone's been commenting. Dave Bautista. What a fucking actor. Who knew? I'm gonna just say it. I think out of all of the people to come from the WWE and act, Dave Bautista might be the one who could actually act.
Oh, I
He
don't know. I feel like I saw the Marine. What is it? Marine 3. Have you ever seen the Miz act?
I stopped at Marine One. I fucking hate that movie. And when they had a 2 and 3, I said, nope, don't ever
But
need to
they're
see it.
different Marines.
I don't care. John Cena, thank you for fucking that up for me. You had the guy
Yeah.
from Terminator. You had the T-1000. How is that movie still shit? It was so horrible. I hated it. Poor representation
Oh,
for the military.
I love
Uh,
Robert Patrick.
I do love Robert Patrick. Honestly, I would have turned the movie off if Robert Patrick just didn't ham the shit out of being the villain. Robert Patrick was the best part to watch that movie. Like the way he's just so over the top. He's like, "You guys are shooting him. Why aren't you killing him?" I love that line. Like, I was like, Robert, you're really trying to save this movie. Like, kudos, but
Absolutely.
it's a terrible movie. Um, but Batista has given some pretty balanced performances. Blade Runner 2045, I think it is. He was good in that. Dune, he's pretty good in that. Um, fucking Drax, obviously. He
Yeah,
made Drax.
what about he's in the biggest movie of all time, guy?
Endgame.
He's an Avenger.
Yeah, uh, but I feel like in this movie, you actually see him give a performance, wait for it, PB's favorite word, with emotional
National
weight.
weight.
um, the way he has this look while you're watching in this movie, right? He has this look in his eyes, like you kind of can't help but to like his character. Keep in mind, this is a guy who has taken people hostage, essentially. And you get to a point in the movie where you're like, I can't hate Leonard. I like Leonard. I don't want anything to happen to Leonard. Leonard
He's
seems
got
like
kids to coach.
Leonard seems like that coach you had in high school who was the good guy who always guided you. It's like, you could be better than this. That guy who gave you fucking inspiration. Like, you wanted to win the game because coach would give you that look like he was so proud of you. He's that coach. He's like that lovable, nice coach. And he plays the role so well. Another thing that I appreciate about this movie, they do not fuck around. Like, you open the movie with them invading this fucking cabin. Like, doesn't bullshit. We don't get like an hour of them driving and getting there, and then
No, we didn't get that, but they intermingled it into the story with the flashbacks, which
was
I like
clever.
that.
Yeah, because I feel like when you stop to tell all of that stuff leading up to it in the beginning of the movie, you start to lose people, right? You hook people immediately when these fuckers come with these homemade weapons and these two guys are trapped with their daughter and they're describing and you're like, oh shit, man. And even me and Bitchy were looking around and we're like, dude, there's too many windows. You're not we're like, there's too many windows. You're not gonna keep these guys out. You got a fucking giant ass window in the back. Like, they're coming in. They're coming in. You got no
Okay,
choice.
now
So,
because it's Bautista. When he opened the door and I saw the window was broken, I was like, can he fit out that?
we'll get to that. I'm gonna break this down like scene for scene because now I'm
I
going
doubt it.
balls in.
You're gonna
I'm
skip
going
stuff, but it's fine.
I'm going balls in. No, that isn't until the end of the movie. I'm gonna go balls into this. So, the beginning, the conversation between him and the little girl. Can we also highlight too? The little girl is a damn good child actor. Holy
Hey,
shit!
you shouldn't talk to strangers. You're smart. But
Yeah.
we're not going to be strangers long. My name's Leonard.
I loved it. Just the way the conversation takes place. The girl says something that no other person ever says. Like, this giant, massive fucker comes and starts talking to you. And in any other movie, they'd be like, oh, the kid just trusts this fucking guy who towers over her. And she's like, I was told never to talk to strangers. I was like, good for you. Good.
Right?
You've got good dads. You've got good dads. So let's highlight the big thing that I heard around a lot of people saying, and it's not a factor in the movie, so I don't know why people get butthurt about this, but PB,
Wait, what?
it's got gay fathers. Gay people have kids.
Oh my God, guy.
They went to China to adopt.
No, hold on. Did you say hello to Sherry when I was asleep?
Yeah, I said, hello, Sherry.
I fell asleep for 12 seconds and missed someone showing up. Sorry, Sherry. Hello.
But now you're wide awake. I could tell you were super hyped to talk about this. So
Oh, yeah, I
let's
got
just
candy.
so let's just go. We're gonna take this section by section because, like I said, this is a big breakdown because I really enjoyed this movie, and now I can get into my reasons why it's not a 9. It's a 9 and not a 10. But um, so for just the beginning, what did you think of the whole setup? How they got everybody in that position, and then we'll talk about the choice because I left that vague. I didn't say shit, and I'm gonna get into the choice. But just the one section when you saw Batista talking to the girl, you saw them run in, and you knew they were breaking in. Like, did you think this was all set up well? Did it like hook you immediately? Like, you want to know what the fuck's going on?
I mean, there was no time for it to hook me immediately. You were already into it because, I mean, unless you had no idea what the movie was going into it and you like bought your ticket on the day and you're like, huh, Batista. And then you go and watch the movie, you'd have no clue. But I knew what was going on. I was like, oh, I guess we're not dicking around at all. We're just going to get right to it. Awesome. Because I
So
didn't know
you
what they were going to do. I was like, okay, so are they going to torture this family? Like, are they going to Are they going to read to him from the Bible about how being gay is a sin?
And I want to highlight this because we call this bullshit out. Did you ever at once in this movie feel like you were being preached to? Because I didn't. I felt like this was a very good way to go about telling a story like this. It didn't make me feel like
I thought it was
I
actually the
had
exact
to root for them.
opposite. I was
What's
like,
that?
huh. I thought it was the exact opposite because they, the entire time, was like, oh, you're doing it because we're gay. You're doing it because we're gay. You're doing it because we're gay. And I was like, why? What makes you say that? How do
But
you know
then
it's not because of the Asian hate?
but then I like kind of how the movie flips that, and it's like, no, it has nothing to do with it. And even when the guy realizes, he's like, oh man, this isn't because we're gay. Whoops. I like the way it plays around with the all right, Christine, we'll see you
See
later.
you later, Christine.
I like how it plays around with that, and I'll tell you, my favorite flashback in this, kind of skipping a little bit, but I like when the father comes over for that, like, little, I don't know, fucking brunch thing with them. And I saw this with my mother, and I seen it with Bitchy. So I seen this movie
Of course
twice.
you did.
And I love how the father looks. And I was in the theater with my mom, and my mom's just sitting there, and I look over and I go to my mom, like, he's saying in his head, my son is dead. And she started laughing, and I was like, he had that look on his face. But I love how they don't like get into an argument. There's nothing. There's just a look on the guy's face. If if you have parents, when you fuck up and you do something and they have that look like they hate you. Old boy had that look like, my son is no longer alive. Fucking gay. Like, I I appreciated they really didn't have to say nothing. And then you have the wife on the side, and she's like, oh, this is a nice home. You guys got a nice setup here. These teacups are really nice. How are you guys doing? Like,
Yeah, I mean, when she says she's you talking about the tweaker chick or the black chick?
no, I'm talking about when they have the flashback of the gay guys first coming out, and they're all sitting at the table, and the father
Oh,
and the mother of the one guy are over there, and they give the most disapproving looks I've ever seen given to anything. Like,
yep.
the
They
dude looks
drove what? They drove 4 hours. They stayed for 45 minutes.
4 hours to stay. And dude, you know what? This is not something faked.
Don't
Like,
quote me. I don't remember how many hours they said they
no,
drove in the
you
movie, but
you
I
you
want to say it
you
was
hit the
four.
nail on the head. It was 4 hours
Okay.
for 45 minutes. Like I I thought that was very well done because they didn't outwardly say anything, but the scene is so uncomfortable. Like, you're sitting in there with them because they're showing from the perspective of you being on the other end of the table. And I want to highlight the camera shots. The camera work is fucking great because you're in the POV of like you with your parents, and they're just giving you this disapproving look. Like, the father's just looking at the like, my son's
I
dead.
can't believe that you like to suck cock.
That's the look he had, but he never says it. He just has that look, like, and then he beelines into the fucking car. Like, dude, very well
He's
done.
like, that's
I
nice. I'm just going to finish my tea now.
Yep. I had the tea. I had the biscuits. Let's get the fuck out of here, dear. We could still beat the traffic. I thought that was very well done. So what's the choice? The choice, which is the driving factor of this movie, and I'm going to ask you about your feelings about this, and what you would choose, because I've had various opinions from Bitchy and my mom. I'll also tell you what my mom said,
Well,
because it's fucking hilarious, because she
it's
knew
the
nothing about
same
this movie.
question that I posed when we were watching Bill and Frank. It's the same question. I said, do you want to be the murderer or the suicider?
Yes, that's at the end. But the initial question is, they said the world's ending, right? They come in and they're playing it like Jehovah's Witnesses, kind of, but to the extreme. If you gave Jehovah's Witnesses fucking weapons, and they said, and I'm going to give some details away you might not have picked up on, or maybe you did, that kind of tie in when we get to the ending. But they say Batista goes on this kind of chat and goes, I'm going to ask you to do an impossible choice, and it's your guys' choice alone. We can't interfere, but you got to kill someone you love to save the world. So we can't pick for you. Choose amongst yourself, but one of y'all got to die.
One of you must die, and you cannot kill yourself. You must be sacrificed by the other two, or one of the other two.
Which I thought was a very interesting concept, and I'd like to point out too, because Bitchy is standing here. She did mention
I like
too.
having rules. I just like having rules.
Yeah, and the great thing about the rules, PB, is they don't break them for plot convenience.
Nope.
The rules are the rules. So these invaders can't kill them, and they can't kill themselves, and they can't force them to make the choice through any tactics like, scaring them or whatever. It has to be purely their decision. It's sacrifice someone in your family to save the rest of the world, or doom the rest of the world, and you'll live, but you're going to walk down a fucked up hellscape. But you'll be alive.
Okay, so they don't make it clear, at least not to me. Maybe you watched it twice, so you heard or you understand it better than me. The way that I understood it was they're not necessarily going to live to old age. The way I took it was they're going to live just long enough to see everyone die and then be alone, and then they'll die.
No, because there is a line where he says, yeah, you'll see everyone die, but for eternity they'll walk the earth. He does say that line. So they will live through basically.
Wait, they get to live forever. So I get everlasting life just by letting the world burn.
Yes, but it's not all roses because there's nothing left in the world.
Well, of course it's not all roses. I'd have to be gay.
So basically you get to live forever, but you're living in essentially the rapture. And I gotta be honest, I don't know if I want to live through the rapture, man. There's several other parts in the Bible. I don't know if I want to see the seven-headed beast and the crowd. I don't know if I want to know and get my answer whether or not it's true. Like, do you really want to be there and be like, oh yeah, I guess the Bible was right, Christians won this one?
Like Pope 1, Zod nil.
Like, that's not how my world domination would have went. Everyone would have been alive. Or at least most
people alive longer.
Definitely longer. There would have been. I need people to build the statues.
We get it.
You gotta have your workers. You ain't gonna kill your workforce. That's just bad.
The best way to build a workforce for you, if that's the case, is to have a bunch of half Kryptonian babies.
Exactly.
And then they can have a bunch of quarter Kryptonian babies. And if it works the same way that Saiyans work, they'll still have superpowers.
Oh yeah. So it'd probably take a little bit longer. Hopefully they don't have to do a fusion dance. God, that's no fusion dances for Kryptonians. Sorry, DBC.
If Pan can do all the stuff, then they should be able to do all the stuff.
Wow, so we got way off on a tangent, but so they have to make this choice. So where did you because everyone I saw this with, they had the initial reaction. Even my mom said quite out loud in the theater, she goes, oh, they're fucking full of shit, until we get to the ending. But she's like, oh, they're full of shit. Did you like how they kind of were tying real things to where you can kind of doubt what they were saying until we get.
So I feel like I might be the only person I was all in. I was like, oh, most definitely apocalypse. Most definitely apocalypse. And then
So,
as it goes along, they're like, well, that was pre-recorded and that was pre-recorded. And I was like, well, fuck, man, maybe there is no apocalypse happening. Like, what? This
so
whole
it
thing,
was doing it.
like the whole time I was sold going into it. I was like, Batista's in the right. And then as it goes along, I was like, wait a second, we dealing with just psychopaths this whole time? And they're like, all of this is just going to be some faked footage or something like that. And like people, none of the people actually died and it was just all a sick game. No, that's not what happened at all.
But when they were doing that, so the trick was working, right? You were like,
A little.
yeah, there were points where, because
No,
I
they
noticed
made
that,
you doubt the fact that this supernatural apocalypse was happening.
yeah, they did a good job of kind of keeping you off balance. And we'll get to the ending because I think that's where the ending will divide people. I know my
Oh,
mom, she loved it. I loved it. There's some people who thought it was too straightforward. They were expecting the Shyamalan twist to come.
yep. I was waiting for the Ramalama Ding Dong twist.
uh, but he showed restraint, and people said, "Well, obviously no one read the book,"
Yeah,
but they said,
except
"Well,
people like, I would say, for the majority, people like his twists for the majority. Like my two favorite ones are obviously The Sixth Sense and The Village.
uh, I'm divided on the Village. I appreciate it more now, but when I first saw it, and I saw it in theaters, when I first saw it, I was kind of pissed off. I'm not gonna lie. It took me years. I rewatched the movie like tons more times, and I appreciate it now. I don't know what it was, but I had picked out it was just a fucking weird commune the whole time. So maybe that's why I was expecting him to go opposite of that. And there's a certain point where I go, oh, this is just a fucking whacked out community. And then I get to the end, I was like, yep, it's a whacked out community. The girl's blind, she can't see shit. I was a little bit pissed off that it went exactly where it go. But now when I
Whoa, whoa,
rewatched
whoa,
it,
whoa,
I got
whoa, whoa. Wait. Who's blind?
the girl in that movie, she's blind. That's why
The little
they
Asian girl.
no, when you were talking about the village. That that girl in
Oh,
the village was blind, and that's why they let her go, but you don't know she's blind until the end of the movie. And
you
that's
know that
why,
she's no, you know that she's blind during the movie.
well, that was supposed to be part of the twist. Some people didn't know. I don't know how. It's pretty fucking obvious, but yeah, there was just, I don't know, for me, that was the start of when his twist kind of became a little bit more predictable and a little bit more predictable, and then some of them didn't fucking make sense at all. And then we got Last Airbender. I loved, for me, probably the one I liked the most was Signs. Signs was,
I
that
mean,
was the,
Signs is a good creepy movie, but does it like have a twist per se? Is the twist in Signs that it was just War of the Worlds?
the twist in Signs was the water thing.
Yeah, but it's not like everything's got a weakness. Having a weakness is a twist.
See, my issue with that movie was, if this is an advanced culture, how did they not account for like a majority of the world being fucking water?
Well, okay, well, I don't think that they necessarily have to account for that. Like, do they know going into it that they are vulnerable to water in that way? I would hope not.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just like, oh, this new substance, and they touch it, they're like, oh God, we better stay away from that.
I mean, that would be like being a tiny little island nation, right? Right, a tiny little island nation. So you probably have a relatively small army compared to your navy. Just guessing, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna load up your army and you're gonna attack somebody else with your army. No, why would you do that? You wouldn't do that. You would save that until the very, very end. You're gonna use your strengths first, not your weaknesses.
Yeah, which they do until they figure out, oh shit, these people know how to use their water. Retreat.
No. They have entire houses dedicated to learning how to spray stuff with water. Let's leave.
so so once again, it's good, it's a great movie, well acted. So we get back to Knock at the Cabin, and we're in a situation. I think the ending is great, but the acting is really more of the highlight of this movie. Everybody in this movie, right down to Ron Weasley,
Oh, everyone's a
was
character. Okay, that's why he was fucking familiar. I was like, why is this guy
that
so
was
goddamn familiar?
dude Ronald. Let me tell you something. His name is Rupert. I forget his last name. British. Sorry, no offense to UK people.
Redbeard?
Yeah, he's a Redbeard brother, PB.
No, we'd just call him Rupert Redbeard.
Bitchy started laughing. So, uh, I liked his character because for the short time he was on screen, I gotta be honest with you, maybe I just connect to asshole characters because villain, but I was like, I kind of don't want this guy to like die. Like, I liked how he was straight to the point. Like, he's like, dude, they're not gonna fucking make this choice. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't make this choice. And they're like, shut up. Like, he's like, this was a
Okay, so
waste of time.
I'll tell you what. I most definitely did not think that they were going to use the tactic that they did to try and get these people to make this decision. That caught me off guard for sure. I was like, whoa, don't look away. Don't
And
look. And I was like, okay, so like you talked about this before you got there, and all of you were like, yep, I saw it, you saw it, you saw it, and Ron Weasley doesn't see anything after it. He dies first. What the fuck?
so, were you kind of clearly by you're shocked, right? I was shocked too. I'm pretty sure 90% of the people were shocked. I thought it was going in the direction like they said they can't kill them. It doesn't mean they can't torture them, right?
Right.
So when they started setting it up, and then he put the bag over his head, I'm like, wait a second, this is not any torture I know, unless you're okay. Maybe they're going for a psychological thing, and then you see him put the weapon down. I'm like, what the fuck? And then you see like him kind of kneel, and Batista comes with that motherfucking axe, and I'm like, oh god, oh god,
Yep.
cut
We're
that
not fucking
motherfucker's head
around
out.
anymore, apparently.
And it's so interesting, and they explain at the end in the symbolism behind it. We'll get to there because, believe it or not, there's a lot to talk about in just an hour, 45-minute movie. That's where, to me, a movie's good because you could break down different facets of it. But, uh, you're sitting there going, okay, are they full of shit? So they turn on the TV, right? And I like the little subterfuge. Certain things pay close attention to the background. Some will say live, breaking news, or pre-recorded, and they intermingled them to where, are they timing this? Did they already know it was going to be on? It's part of their delusion. The first one is pre-recorded. It's an earthquake, and they're like, bullshit. The next one is live. Dude, that scene, me, Bitchy, and my mom were laughing at those fucking people sitting there. Only one guy ran, if you look at the background. Everybody's sitting there, and they take out their fucking phones and cameras, and I'm like, you know what? I can fucking see people doing that. There is like a fuck ton wave coming at you, like a wall of water, and this motherfucker with the camera just sitting there. And then at the last minute goes, oh shit, probably should start running. Too late. He's
Probably.
running backwards, still trying to fucking. No, I'm good. He's still trying to run.
We'll take
And
one.
PB said he'll take one. He's trying to run and catch the fucking tidal wave. So he's really like this, looking at the fucking wave. I'm like, guy, drop the fucking camera and run. Dude.
Hit the go live button and toss your phone.
He was like, and then he just gets to a point where it looks like he stops and he's like, Jesus, take the wheel, and you just see the fucking wave, and the camera's just recording shit inside of the wave, and I'm just like, you know what? All those people
Oh, that
deserve
was
to
a
die.
cool
I'm
shot
sorry.
when once they cut back to the camera and you could see all the bodies underwater. That was a cool shot.
I will give it to them. So yeah, you get that, and we're still on the fence, right? Because obviously that one says live, it went to breaking news, but you're still like, okay. So we get around to the second one, and I gotta say, I really liked this lady. She works at a diner. She has a kid, and she cooks the little girl a nice meal. And I like her like pitch. She's like, "Hey man, before this, I'm just a fucking line cook. Uh, I I, I just want to, my son to live. Like, please, bro, my life is literally in your hands. D- don't make him do this shit to me." And they're like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Oh man, like." And yeah, so the second one gets her fucking head chopped off, and now we get to the second plague, which I like. Okay, so my mom pointed this out, and I wanted to get your take. I like the realism behind the plagues because in our world, it's something you can see not only happening, but being kind of explained away, right?
Well, I thought
Uh,
for sure that, like, okay, so when they went to the whatever their virus was, right?
yep.
I was like, all right, so the lady's going to be outside the hospital. She's going to be reporting about the virus, and she's going to get hit in the face with a frog.
But no, it was just this virus that was happening.
Did you not expect frogs to fall from the sky at some point?
I did expect like some kind of frogs or locusts, like literal things, but it was not. It was very subtle, real world kind of things. I was like, oh shit, they're making a
Locusts
statement
are real.
about the vid, about the coof. They brought in the coof for this one, and I like how they even talk about where the gay guy's like, "You're full of shit. Look, it's pre-recorded. Like I've been hearing about these cases for months." So there's that doubt, right? Because you're like, oh shit, it does say pre-recorded. He knew about the cases months ago. They could have timed it for this one particular broadcast to be on.
Yep. Okay,
But
so
then,
it was somewhere in this section that what the guy thinks he he's all lightheaded because he got knocked on the ground,
yep,
and the one I don't remember what it's Eric and Andrew, and I don't remember
yep.
which is which. I don't remember which is which because they're both
Uh,
generic. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I think Andrew is the wife. Obviously, Eric's the husband. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. It was very clear.
Yeah,
You knew
at
who
this
was the
point,
man and
I'm
the
watching it,
wife.
and I was like, okay. Well, I thought that the twist was going to be it was a delusion since this guy got knocked on his head.
Yeah, and we're getting there because the ending. There's so much to unpack in that. But yeah, he says when the first guy died, Ronald Weasley, uh, he was like, I saw something in there, and I rewatched. And when you look at the light, if you look at it closely, it looks like a halo, or it could just be a trick of the light. But if you
Okay.
look, it's specifically kind of like a halo on someone's head. And when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, so you're just paying attention to what's about to happen. But if you look off to the side really quick, you catch a quick glimpse. It's a perfect circle ring. And it kind of goes out like this. And I was like, oh, if you're not paying attention to that, though, initially, because of how they set it up, where you're focused on Ronald about to get his fucking head cut off, and you're like, I was now looking at the little shit, and I was like, oh shit, that is a kind of looks like a halo. So then you're like, I'm sitting back asking different questions, going, is this in his mind, or is this the part where he's seeing?
Yes to all.
So we get to the plague. It's kind of questionable, but now we get to there's two of them left. Homeboy makes a run for the gun. There's some stuff in between. I'm not gonna go bit by bit. The girl escapes. She comes back. That's kind of fucking useless. It's just adding to the tension. Um, but there is a scene where now uh, they make a big commotion, and my mom laughed at this because we've all been there. When your kid starts screaming and hollering that they want a particular TV show, my mom busted out laughing. and she puts on the greatest fucking performance. She's like, I want the show on now. And Dave's just sitting there going, or Leonard, he's like, hey now, breathe, breathe. Honey, we'll put the, like, he's all like
We're
fumbling.
gonna count to 5.
We're gonna count to 5, and we're just gonna count down. And then gay guy, the Andrew, cuts his ropes, and then he's like, he starts fucking hollering, so he distracts the two. The other dude runs for the gun. All great stuff. And then jumps in. The um the black lady who's the nurse follows him out, and like she's really trying to get at him without like killing him, because as they said, they can't technically kill them. So she's
Yep.
just kind of taking the end and poking him with that really fucking sharp.
Hey.
And so he gets to his gun, fucking shoots her in the shoulder. Now, I'm not going to lie. I laughed when I saw her book it. And so did my mom. Like, she just fucking dropped the...
Yep. Into the woods. Gone.
I'm not going to lie. Some of the reactions they give, like, it's like, yeah, I could see someone doing that. Like, for all intents and purposes, before this moment, this lady was just a fucking registered nurse going about her daily life. That's what she told them, right? So someone shoots at you, you're not gonna fucking stand there and try to pick your weapon back up and stab them. You're gonna fucking beeline it. And so you see her just fucking all ass. It's like,
well, it looks like he has the high ground now.
And everybody knows, if we did not learn one thing from episode 3, it's that you never try to take the high ground. Doesn't work. So
yep.
he goes back in the house.
Do not underestimate my power.
So they go back into the house, and this is kind of where even Leonard starts to doubt stuff, and I think they do this very well. He goes off to the side, shoots him in the shoulder, whatever. They got the big guy under control, and he goes and hobbles his way and gets the guy, and he's like, this is O'Brien, and he goes, this is the guy, and they show the flashback of this dude beat the shit out of him in a bar for talking too loud. And you know what? That was pretty realistic to me, because you do got those assholes who get drunk and you're having a conversation about something they don't like or they don't want to hear, and they'll come in saying, you're being too loud. And it's like, bullshit. We were talking at normal people level. Like, I would have said the same shit. Like, go sit the fuck down. Like,
I rarely talk at normal people level.
I mean, me too, but they appeared to be having a normal conversation in a crowded bar with lots. You could hear people talking in the background. So I refuse to believe that this one guy was offended by that specific volume that they were at. It was them talking about basically adopting their daughter, and clearly the guy did not like the conversation, goes back and kind of walks away, and then comes back and bashes the fuck out of not Andrew, Eric. Hits him with a fucking bottle, not once but twice. Like, holy fuck! Like,
double tap.
I was like, yeah, he did the double tap. And I'm not gonna lie, I do like it to set up his character of why he's so cynical. And it's going to come to, because we're getting close to the end, and it's going to come to that. So let's go to the part we were talking about. I did not believe for 1 second when they put Bautista in the bathroom, A, they were going to hold that big motherfucker there, or B, he climbed his big ass out that window.
How did the black lady die? How did she arrive back into the house?
It looks like she ran through the woods, circled back around, and came in that one fucked up back door. It's kind of hilarious when I stopped to think about it. I was like, she did a marathon sprint around the whole length of the forest and then charged in.
The first plague was the earthquake and tidal wave, right?
The second plague was a plague, technically.
Second plague was the virus?
Yes. The third plague was the shards of glass, and we're going to get to that. So she circles back around. He shoots her.
Shards of glass?
Yeah, the planes are a metaphor basically because the scripture goes, uh, fire will fall to the sky like shards of glass, and God's fingers will touch with flames or some bullshit. I
Okay.
can't remember the full scripture, but it's basically like everything his fingers touch will be set on fire, which I thought was cool because what could create big explosions and flames? Airplanes. So they turn it on, and this is where you kind of start to realize they're not full of shit because this is now live. And then it goes from live to breaking news. So he could doubt the first one, right? You can kind of say, oh, it was live at like 5 o'clock. So this is technically, because we all know the news is all pre recorded. But when they do the breaking news, that's like happening now. They broke in
Mm-hmm.
to tell you whatever the fuck you were watching, probably every show, they broke in. And when he started quoting the lady word for word, you were like, hmm.
Okay then.
It's like, this is breaking news. This isn't pre recorded. He'd have no knowledge of what she was going to say at that moment unless
Yeah. Another
he's.
moment I did not expect. I did not expect him to get upset at the TV. What did the TV do to anybody?
And that's
That
the.
was hurtful.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of heard too. That was nice ass television, but you see him break the TV, and he's like, no, and he goes, I don't believe any of this shit. And I love what Batista says because Batista is a guidance counselor, works with kids, and he goes, I could tell when someone's lying. You're lying. Like now you're just lying to yourself. And then he finally comes out, and he's like, no, I don't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this is actually happening because then, yes, there we go. God's fingers will scorch the earth. Yeah, so he's like, I can't believe this because if this is true, that means you guys weren't hating on us because gay. You guys are actually, the world is ending. And then you got a new choice. It's like, well, fuck. Someone's got to die. So we get to my part where I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how you felt, okay, but we're men here. We could admit this. I got a little emotional here. My boy Leonard gets the gun back. We have the bathroom scene. Of course, he didn't fit his big ass out the window. We all knew he didn't. I did like how he took one in the fucking shoulder to wrap the curtain around him. And when the gay dude came and tried to jump on his neck, I go, bro, like, come on. Did you see that, man? He just like pushes him. He didn't even like do it. He just went whoop, and he went flying out of the fucking door.
Get out of here.
He goes, dude, I faced Triple H. All right, I faced Undertaker. You're like, compared to those guys, you weigh about a buck nothing.
That's too much credit. You like my picture?
Yeah. You look different.
Isn't that nice?
So, okay, so now we get to me, the saddest moment. What did you think
What is?
about?
Oh, I guess I was a little disappointed that they didn't pan the camera up.
Yeah, yeah. For an R-rated film, I was very disappointed that they didn't actually show a lot of the shots. Just enough for you to know, but not
Oh
enough
yeah.
to really get in the details. But like his whole
Okay.
speech,
So what's the fourth
really.
flag?
The fourth plague is um basically uh ruination. Like I'll explain it when I get into who these people are supposed to represent. But uh the fourth plague is the end. That's like lightning, thunder, sky gets black, like end is coming. The end is nigh. The fourth plague is ushered in by death. So the last plague is death. People are gonna die. You're fucking out of time. Like now shit is real. Like you've been dicking around. you probably only killed like maybe 500,000 people at this point, but now like shit is gonna be like amped up, and so he slits his throat, and immediately they kind of just let you know this isn't bullshit, because as he looks over, a fucking plane is falling off to the side, lightning is
Yep.
fucking striking down, and that's when you realize, oh shit, yeah, the end is nigh. And
Uh-huh.
I want to go to my boy Leonard, R.I.P. Leonard. When he looked at him and he goes,
Holy
"My new
Lord.
friends," I was like, ugh! I was like, just make your fucking choice, man. Like, you were already gonna make the choice. Why does my boy Leonard have to fucking slit his throat? Like, just do that shit quick. Be like, just hold on, all right. Let's talk it over. All right, we decided. They lost a good coach, man. Like,
Big time. But at least they still have a team.
so Leonard offs himself. They tell the little girl, go up in the fucking treehouse. Daddy's got to make some tough choices, and you're already going to be in fucking therapy for a long time. So they go back in,
Long
and
time.
I gotta say, I don't know about you. Okay, let's just talk about the acting back and forth first before we get into the overall decision. I thought the acting between them was pretty fucking fantastic. I'm not gonna lie, I got choked up at a lot of shit that was said in this moment. I like that Eric kind of mirrored the part of the crowd where he realizes, okay, the end of the world is coming, but fuck them. Why are we why is it we're in love more than most people and we've got to give this up for these people who don't appreciate it, right? These people who kill each other, who are mean and ruthless, and all of this hatred that happens. Why the fuck do we have to break up our family? That maybe people will change. Maybe people will do the right thing, right? And that's not how the world works. People aren't going to do the right thing.
People
And then the
usually
other one's
suck.
like, but then the other guy, Andrew, is like, but what kind of world is she going to grow up in? And that's a good point. Like, yeah, we can all live, but she ain't going to have friends. She's not going to obviously have a career because there's going to be no careers. Um, the little girl ain't going to meet anybody because there's not going to be fucking nobody to meet. So, what did you think about this back and
Yep,
forth?
that would be a pretty sad existence.
So,
Oh, I 100% agree with you. The movie was beautifully acted. It gets full points for acting. I believe that everybody believed that they were who they believed they were. Is that a sentence? No, but maybe I made it into one.
so then you get to this moment, and it's just,
I
it's
have
really,
I have a question for you.
Sure.
So, if Bitchy is in the kitchen like a good woman, right? You follow?
Yeah. Yep.
This is not an important question, Peony.
So, and she's making a cake and also cupcakes, right? Still follow?
Yep. I'm still with you.
Would you at some point think that you're going to like either lick a whisk or a spoon or a bowl?
Wait. I have an important question for Zod then if you're going to do that to me. Shut up! As a chef, let me ask him, as a chef, are you finished?
No! Keep going.
You can't hear me over your
Sure he
belly.
can. Sure he can. Go.
No. Right, as a chef, Zod, do you clean up as you go? Or do you wait
Yeah.
till it's finished? Thank you.
Right, so why didn't I lick the spoon a long time ago?
Because I used to be a chef and I'm trained, and it's inbuilt to clean as I go. And I did.
Yeah, but I'm
So
supposed
the
to.
chef, he gets it.
Yeah, but he just
gets
said
it.
if Bitchy was making something, he wanted the spoon to lick
But
off.
he also said, as a chef, you clean up as you go.
Yeah, but with my mouth, the
No.
spoon goes in my mouth. That's the first stage to clean
No.
a spoon.
If you were working in a restaurant,
I would clean the spoon with my mouth first, and then I'd throw it in.
if you were working in a
I
restaurant
worked in a restaurant.
and health and safety came along,
Health and safety can
someone-
suck my balls.
health and safety come in, and there's someone licking the counter clean, they're gonna have
Not
something
the
to
counter,
say.
it's a spoon.
They're still gonna have something to say.
What are they going to say? They're probably going to say something like, "Was that delicious?"
No, not. No. Like, that's not how you wash a spoon. Wait, let me play all this spoon.
Okay, so we got way off track. To get back to the more pressing issue of the end of the world, because I'm sure that licking the spoon wouldn't end the world. It would probably just like be a serious health code violation, PB. I mean, for fuck's sake. Anyways, the point is that so they're doing this dialogue, and then I don't know. For me, the one scene I did appreciate them cutting away from was him actually getting shot, but you hear the gunshot. And I don't know why, to me, that felt pretty powerful. And then they don't show him. They kind of show his feet or whatever, and he's like over his lever or whatever. But I thought that was pretty effective. That was a good cutaway, as they call it in the biz. But you could tell this is real because shit just immediately stops. And so, yeah, what were your thoughts now that we're at the ending? What were your thoughts about?
My thoughts were, I'm very glad he wore a white shirt instead of a black shirt.
What's that?
I'm very glad that he wore a white shirt instead of a black shirt.
So they get to a diner, and they see that all of the
Oh,
stuff is
that
stopped.
part? You're asking me about the diner part?
No, about the whole thing overall. They get to the diner that they realize they did in fact save
So
the
this is the
world.
part where I started to get pissed off. This is where I started to get pissed off, guy, because I was like, okay, twist time, and then they leave, and I was like, okay, so the twist is going to be the apocalypse continues, and a plane is going to like crash onto their vehicle, and then you know what they did at the end of the movie, and it blew my fucking mind. I was like, they just drove away safely.
Yeah, the twist was there was no twist.
What a disaster.
But personally, okay, so let's get the bitchy analysis. They actually liked it. They liked the fact that these things are always so bleak at the end, and I think every now and again, just not all the time, Hollywood. So don't do this all the time, and just fucking tug our balls because now you have a success, because this movie is quite successful. It's like number one. It's made double its budget. So congratulations, M. Night, you got a hit. To be fair, it was only shot for 20 million, so it wasn't a high bar to clear. But I think every now and again, because of how bleak everything is and how bleak that choice was, I think that it is a good breath of fresh air to get a movie where the apocalypse is actually averted. They actually did it. But here's the fucked up part about this. Like, really think about it, right? They saved the whole world. But no one will ever know that dude lost his lover. That they are rolling around. They saved humanity. And if they ever told anyone in the fucking story, no one would believe them. Because why? The cabin gets lit on fucking fire at the end. And so all that evidence is gone that there was ever an invasion or anything else, right? And they basically, like, could never tell anyone and have them believe it. Like, you can't be at a party and be like, yeah, remember those floods like 3 years ago and the fucking plague and everything? Yeah. You could thank my lover Andrew. He fucking saved you. So There ain't gonna be no memorials, no statues. Like, when you think about it, this man should have his own fucking day where we all get off.
No,
There should be a
dude, it's
fucking
gonna be.
monument.
He's gonna get less credit than Black Widow.
Yeah, because
That's
we all
rough.
know.
That's rough.
We all know Black Widow did the same fucking sacrifice, even though it should have been fucking Hawkeye, whatever. But and they didn't even still to this day. Okay, now you got me on this rant. To this day, much like fucking Andrew, she didn't get a memorial. Tony got a big. All the Avengers are there. We hear "I love you" 3,000 fucking cheeseburgers. And don't get me wrong. R.I.P. to my boy. It was emotional. If I would be bullshitting you if I didn't tell you I didn't cry. You have no heart if you didn't cry, okay? I give it to him. It was emotional. But I still ask, where the fuck is Black Widow's fucking funeral? What the fuck, Marvel? I've been waiting for we're now into the second phase of this new phase, and no, we're just gonna shuffle that off. Like, she made the ultimate sacrifice. We still don't get a fucking funeral. They only acknowledge her in Hawkeye for like a brief moment. And that's Hawkeye, who was there. Like, no fucking statue, no Natalia Day, no, the fucking play didn't have anything saying that. Nothing. To this day, nothing. You know what? Bullshit. It's fucking
that play
bullshit.
is shit.
And Andrew he ain't even gonna get a play. He got Black Widowed. He got Black Widowed. That's what we're gonna call it. When anyone fucking dies and they don't get the fucking credit they deserve, he got Black Widowed.
Black Widow.
So when you really think about it, it is kind of a fucked up scenario. Like, yeah, she's gonna grow up good. We see the vision of the future, right? Like, she's gonna grow up and she's gonna, I presume, have a pretty lucrative practice. And I think it was cool that the one guy couldn't die, because his arc is that through that sacrifice he gets over his anger and his rage and he learns to become a better person. But I still say it's bullshit.
He needs to be a better person.
Yeah, and they even show you at the end, right, with the radio. She plays that song. It was the song that was playing, and he fucking turns it off. She turns it back on, and then she turns it off.
I thought that was pretty good. That was quite a good moment.
That was a good moment. And then, and
okay, so I want to see if I got that right. So, like, they just start the car up and the song just happens to be on, and the dad turns it off because he doesn't want to make the little girl sad, or because he doesn't want to make himself sad. Jury's still out, maybe both.
Maybe
and
both,
then the
yeah.
little
I'm
girl
not
turns
presuming
it on because she's like, well, it reminds me of my dad. And she leaves it on for a moment, and then she looks over, and I don't know. You get almost no reaction out of the guy. He's sitting there like stone-faced. And I was like, okay. So then she leans forward and turns it off, because I assume that she's thinking that it's making him sad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then what? They sit there in silence for what? 5-10 seconds? Something like that?
Yep.
And then the dad turns it back on because he starts, at least the way I saw it, he starts to see the song from her perspective, and it doesn't make it a sad song anymore.
Yeah, and then he holds her hand, and I'm just getting emotional just thinking about it. It's moments like that where you got them a little emotional
It's
things,
almost
and you're
like you're a father.
Okay, I'm going to say, too, I'm grading largely on a curve, because as a father, even though you don't get much, you get backstory, but you don't get much real backstory, like the in and outs of their entire relationship or everything, which is smart. You only got an hour or 45 minutes. You got to get shit done. But I felt like I still connected with them, even not knowing like everything, right? We didn't get like the fights they had or more of that, but you still felt like this was an actual couple who actually loved their kid, who actually, like, when he killed him, oh my god, and when he killed him, and that kind of cry he lets out over the body and everything, like, fucking cool, dude. Once again, the acting is like 10 out of 10 for me, because you like felt that. And when he goes up and the little girl goes, Daddy Andrew saved the world, and he just fucking doesn't say anything. He just starts crying. Like, fuck it, dude. Like, fucking kudos. Really, like, honestly, top shelf acting across the board.
Wait
Like,
a second. Wait a second. There we go.
2 thumbs way fucking up for acting. And I think that's why so many people get conflicted with the ending, because it's so straightforward. Now, there's 2 schools of thought. I like this ending, so let's go to the book ending. I told you this before.
Okay, so let me put it this way. If I didn't know who the director, and I don't know if he wrote it by himself, obviously not.
No, he wrote it with 2 other writers.
Right, okay.
Which is why the dialogue is actually good.
He is the driving force behind it and the driving force behind the marketing, because all I kept on hearing was, M. Night Shyamalan's back, M. Night Shyamalan's back. And I was like, all right, this one's going to have an epic fucking twist because he's back. Because it's him. If it would have just been Knock at the Cabin by Joe Schmo, I would have been like, oh, that was a really good movie. I like the way that worked out, but I was expecting the twist.
And this is where I think there's going to be the unfair ratings. I went in completely knowing everything about M. Night's career, and my mindset might have been different from other people's. I said to myself, I don't give a fuck about the twist, because some of his new twists have been shitty. I said, as long as it's a good movie, it's a solid film, and I can get behind 90% of what he presents to me, then for me that works. It's at the very least going to be a 9 for me, because he's doing his job. And to me, 90% of the movie works, maybe 95%, because we're just talking about the ending. The ending seems to be the big thing, right? So 95% of this movie, which baffles me about people's ratings, right? 95% of this movie is solid, from the camera work to the acting to the red herrings and throwing you off, right? Everything is solidly done. It's just when you get to the end of the film, where you land on that part seems to be whether people really fucking hate it or they don't. And even the people who dislike it still are kind of still unsure. And I saw it twice. And I can say positively, because sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you go in and see a movie once, right? I'm coming out, my initial reactions, just like Top Gun. Saw that in the theater, saw it again, seen it 2 other times. Haven't fucking changed. I loved it every time. I'm gonna fucking continue to love it. I can watch it fucking 5 years from now, and you know what? It's still gonna be a fucking 9 to me. I fucking love the movie, right? But with this one, seems like I go in second time and I go, okay, I'm gonna analyze everything. I'm gonna break this shit down. And then when you dig into it, there's still so much more. Like, for instance, something I picked up on, and it is mentioned in the movie very briefly. But do you know why the plagues are happening? There's 4 of them. Who brings the end of the world? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Or Pikachu. Look at him. Clear. He's gonna bring about the doom of
the chalk apocalypse.
So for me, okay, the first great thing, right? And I picked up on it and kind of pissed Bitchy off, but I said right away, I go, oh, I get it. 4 people, it's the 4 horsemen. She goes, what? You ruined the whole thing? I'm like, no, it's just like there, but I guess, you know, if you're not really looking for it, I'm like, 4 people, 4 plagues. I'm writing a story about the 4 horsemen, so I couldn't really help it. I'm like, oh, they're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And each one was specific to that, right? They said one was guidance, one was nurturing, one was malice, and one was healing. So it's all of their different things, and it's supposed to show all aspects of humanity. They all have to die for these people to appreciate everything that people bring to the table. They're every aspect of what people are: kind, caring, nurturing, guiding, and assholes. Because I'm sorry, Ronald, you're an asshole. So it's every
He's a big time
aspect.
asshole.
And it also shows you too that the world can't function without these things, right? You have to, theoretically, even in good writing, there's always a balance. There has to be, for every good thing, there's a bad thing. You know, people are just not straight evil. They're just not straight good unless you're talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, but that's, you know, that's a story for another day, like serial killers and stuff like that. But on the whole, people in general are just not one specific thing. You can find the fault in everyone and you can find the good in everyone if you really try. And I like how they convey that through these four people. And something my mom brought up and Bitchy brought up, when you look in Batista's eyes, it's not hatred or anything. It's so much pain that he feels for them having to make this choice, so much guilt. He doesn't, he clearly doesn't want to force them to make this decision. And god damn, can we just once again say Dave Bautista is a hell of an actor? Like, he conveys so much in his face without even having to speak a line. You could look in his eyes.
Cheers, Dave.
Cheers. Cheers, Dave. So we could look into his eyes and you can see almost everything he's thinking at that moment and how hurt he is. And even you could see that moment where he was doubting himself, where he took the ID and he said, "C. O'Bannon, it's the same guy. This is a hate crime." And he's trying to explain it. He's like, "No, no." Like, for a second, for a moment, he didn't even believe his mission until he turns on the TV. And then he's like, "I fucking see, it's there, it's there." And he sees everything and he's like, you know, then he's like, "Yes, there is a reason why I'm here." And it just makes his sacrifice so much sadder because he is the one, by his death, guiding them to the choice they have to make. And so let's talk about the book for a second, because everybody wants to talk about how the end was less satisfying and stuff. In the book, the little girl gets shot and killed in that struggle. Instead of killing the black chick, the little girl gets hit. And so the end of the book, everyone things still kind of go the same way, except for when it gets to the whole throat slitting thing and they talk it over, they mutually decide, fuck the world, it's not worth saving, and they drive off. And they don't make it 100% clear in the book, but presumably when they drive off in that scene, there's descriptions of basically everything ending. And that's the end. And I'll be honest, and maybe this is a hot take. Anybody who's read the book, leave me a comment. Let me know if you totally disagree with me or whatever. I really don't care. My opinion's not going to change, but I respect your opinion, blah, 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 YouTube things.
Only John Campia could change his opinion.
Oh, yes, that mother. Good job, John. You have the ability to make anything epic feel like a piece of shit. So thank you, John. Great revealing skills. But I think that this, to me, fits better than the book's ending. I think the book's ending is not that fucking good. I'll be perfectly honest. I think the book's ending is terrible and nihilistic. And yes, it might be
horrible.
It might be realistic. It might be the choice 99% of the world would make. But I would argue that this choice is better because it's the hardest choice and the one choice most people wouldn't make. Like, I'll be honest. If I'm sitting there with Bitchy and let's say Sierra and we're all in this situation, fuck the world.
No, here's the question.
Those motherfuckers can burn. I'm a villain.
You're in the middle. You're in the middle of a helicopter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got your wife hanging on one side. You got your child hanging on the other side. They are going to be released at the same time. You have enough time to save one. Who are you going to kill? You're probably going to end up killing both people because you're going to freeze.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those choices where we could sit there as moviegoers, right? And be fucking hypocritical and go, "Well, I'd never fucking do that," or "That's fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense." But when the world is literally falling apart, you have undeniable proof. This isn't like conjuncture. This isn't deciphering the Bible. Like, the
Conjecture,
world
too.
is the world is going to end. You have mere minutes to decide the fate of every fucking body, every single person. Obviously, you're not going to kill the child, as we saw. So it's between the person you love the most in the world and billions of people you've never fucking met
Right.
and have
And I would
no
say most
vested
of those
interest.
billions of people can suck it.
Exactly. And anyone who tells me, oh, like, so they say, oh, well, we prefer that dark ending. But let me ask you this, PB. How many people do you think, if that was the twist and he stuck with the book, right? How many people do you think? I knew you were going to say 7, you prick. How many people do you think would have been on the internet bitching had it been the other side, right? Like, you even said to me you didn't like that ending, right? For the way this movie was structured,
It's not that I
could
didn't
you
like the ending. I liked the ending the way that the two men were able to figure out, like, hey, I'm probably going to die anyways. Like,
Yeah.
this is not getting any better, and we're not going to make it anyplace anytime soon. And yeah, I might survive, but I'm probably going to die. And we can quite obviously see, like, he was sold. He was totally sold. He's like, fuck, we control the apocalypse. Kill me for my daughter.
And like in that scenario, it's tough. It's a tough choice. You're gonna have all the same emotions Eric had, screaming at
Right,
the person
except
or
see,
whatever else.
I don't understand. They took the completely wrong choice. I would have went the other way and been like, I can get me another Asian baby.
Oh, goddamn! You know what? I had a feeling that was gonna come up sometime. You prick. Hashtag stop the Asian hate. Jesus Christ.
Dude,
You
I
know what?
literally said it in the
Zack Snyder
theater.
was
I
watching
leaned
this until that
over.
moment, PB. We had Zack Snyder aboard, and now you just any
I
hopes we
leaned
had.
over and I said to Carrie, I was like, well, this decision's easy. You can get another Asian baby. That's easy.
Holy fuck. And now,
Yeah, but
even though I'm
it's
not
not like it was one
monetized,
of those things. It's not
demonetized.
like, okay, it's not like they did the thing where they're like, okay, we're both going to jerk off into this syringe so that our semen is together, which already sounds gay enough. But then we're going to put that into some other woman. That way we won't know who the father is, but one of us will at least be the biological father, and we won't know. So then we just say both because that's how it worked.
But no, it wasn't like that. They
No, they
did
just
the
went and picked up an Asian baby at the store. That store is still there.
yeah. I love how Carrie says, "Love how you think it's a joke." No, I know he's not joking, Carrie. I've known
He
PB for
knows I
quite a
said that in
while.
front of him.
Oh yeah, I can 100% believe everything you just said, and I can 100% know without it ever being there. That was something this motherfucker said. It wasn't like
You
no
gotta look
doubt,
at
and
all
probably
the
out
angles.
loud.
You gotta look at all the angles. These people ain't looking at all the angles.
But okay, all jokes aside, right? Like when you get to that moment and stuff like that, I think that the issue you have is, especially when you deal with apocalypse stuff, it's going to be divisive by itself because people are going to have these
Right, because
bullshit
some people
notions.
like the X-Men and some people don't.
Yeah, and you're going to have this bullshit analogy where people will justify and go, well, if I was in that situation, that's a no-brainer, blah, 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 blah. And the
I
movie should have ended
definitely
like
get
this.
another Asian baby.
Like, but so in that sense, I guess the book did a good job because you eliminated the uh, the the kid in the book, and then you just had the two lovers who were like, "Oh well, we just lost our kid, so fuck the world, anyways." But I don't think it works for the movie, not for the way he constructed it, and I think that it is more powerful to have the Eric not only change because he finally got like he had to tone his shit down. It was all about his daughter. I could, as a single father, I'm gonna 100% admit. So don't go in the comments. Yeah, maybe I got a slight lean. Okay, but hear me out. As a father, I think the movie works too
Wait a
because
second. Whoa. You're a single father, and your child is how old now? 14, 15, 16? I never remember.
15.
So, is this story based off of your life?
I mean,
Did
shit.
you kill your partner? Did you kill your
I'm
partner
not
in
gonna
the
tell
woods?
you. I can't tell you if I saved the world.
Okay,
Everyone's
fair
made
enough.
these
I didn't know that was
choices.
part of the pact, but okay. You don't want the glory. That's different for a villain, but that's all right.
Yeah, I got a rep to keep. I'm trying to dominate the world. I can't be like soft, like, oh yeah, I saved it once.
Okay, now
That's not how villainy or anti-hero works.
okay, now you said all jokes aside, right? All jokes aside,
Yes.
what happens when anyone, at any point, comes across this total fucking bloodbath in the woods and is like,
That's the end of the movie. Symbolism, by the way. When the cabin's burning, that's supposed to represent the burning bush. Fun facts. Anyways, but the
yeah, but
cabin
all of
burns.
the corpses are just in the woods. The only corpse
I
that's in
mean,
the house is his. I mean, I guess
uh,
Bautista is on the porch. He'll get burned up,
yeah,
but the bones will still be there.
I mean, but like it's supposed to be, I guess, assumed. Okay, loose plot hole, roughly. But I mean,
No,
at that time, you got to figure
no,
it's gonna be
no,
years.
no, no, no. I would not say that it is a loose plot hole because the movie ends before anything comes of it. And like
But yeah,
by the time anybody goes to this remote place in the woods, that were they renting it or did they own it? I
they
still
were
don't know.
renting it off of a website.
Okay. So it burns down and what are they going to look for bones? I wouldn't be looking for bones in the wreckage, especially if you like said that everyone got out safe.
Yeah, and you got to figure too. Let's be honest about people who show this stuff, right? They're not going to tell you, "Oh yeah, family was abducted. They made a choice to save the world. Right over there was where someone got shot." No, they're just going to fucking sweep that under the rug, build a new one, and be like, "Yeah, we've had so many people. It's a nice rustic design. Look at
We
the
had
empty
a
outdoors."
fire. We had to rebuild everything. You got all brand new appliances,
Appliances,
all
yeah.
that good stuff.
So I gotta assume at the end of the day, that's not gonna be on the fucking rental agreement. I mean, come on, how many people cover that shit up when you buy a house? It would probably
No,
like,
but then
yeah,
again, you can always keep it in your back pocket for the paranormal investigators.
oh yeah, and then be like, right over here is where religious fanatics supposedly died, but were they fanatics? Remember that shit you saw on the news? Mm-mm. They're making billions. They're on like, and they don't even gotta, tell who was listed there. They could just say a couple who rented, and no one would have had a fucking idea. How many people rented it before? Because they even mentioned that in the movie. Like, oh yeah, um, how did you know it was going to be us, right? Because millions of people, I assume, rent this. It's a nice area. Let's be real. Look
Well,
good.
no, you don't have millions of people who rent it, but you have millions of potential options.
So question: if Zod is the villain, PB isn't anti-villain, makes him superhero. My superhero won't say where his powers are used.
My
Okay, good.
powers, I can say where my powers are used. You want me to?
Absolutely not. As a
Oh,
matter of
okay.
fact, I will pay you not to.
You're gonna pay me for them.
Yeah, when the check comes, little bonus.
Oh, okay.
so so anyways, me myself, I thought it was now here's the moment of truth.
My
And I
power
know
comes in rod form.
so here's the moment of truth, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, look, say what you want to. I don't care. My rating is not changing. For me, I have a 9. My point deduction was the fact that some things I felt really didn't need to be in there. There were a couple of little things they put in there where I was like, whatever. And the whole highlighting of, well, it's because we're gay. This discrimination. Like, yeah, that was, some parts were a little bit on the nose. Not as
Well,
bad,
I
and it
think,
did have a
well,
point.
not after you
But
get to the end of the movie and you see how it plays out. I feel like the whole gay angle was just to try and make you believe that they were religious fanatics.
yeah. So I think that that angle plays into the movie, but there are some people we know who take the approach of going, well, and I've even seen some of their reviews, and once again, it's very like down the center because the majority of people do actually enjoy this movie going, well, then I don't see what the whole point of it was, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to uh, do movie reviews anyway. It's just not the point. Getting off track. But for
I don't know
me,
how to do
it's
movies.
it's a 9 down the middle. It prevents it from being a 10 because my other issue was the gore. This is fucking R-rated. Why are we cutting away? I get it. Sometimes your mind is more effective, but I think the R honestly was probably the swearing, because if you took out the fucks that were in there, I think honestly they could have got a PG-13. So it felt like an
Probably.
R that was a hard PG-13 and not necessarily a rated R. Like, there's no nudity, there's a bit of swearing, there's violence but very implied. There, like, even the slit, when Batista slit his throat, like, even that, like, yeah, there was some gush in there, the good effects, but you don't see a lot of the stuff. And I feel like, why the fuck was this rated R? That's really where my point deductions come. But everything else, I fucking enjoyed. I really enjoyed this movie. I saw it twice. I'll probably see it again. I think this is the kind of movie where we can have a lot of discussions about it. And it's one of those movies that smartly asks these questions and lets you
I
talk it
gotta,
over with other people.
I gotta save my money to see Quantum Mania 4 times in 3D.
We'll get to that when we see it. I've got very little hope. I don't like Kang, but
So
that's a
the
stream
review
for
on
another
that
day.
movie is going to be way longer than the review on this movie.
I think that will be. I don't know. I want to go in. Look, I want to go in, giving it a fair shot. I'm not gonna be that YouTuber that goes, "Oh, it sucks," unless it's Avatar. Fuck Avatar. Fuck Avatar
Well,
2.
hold on.
Fuck Avatar 3. Fuck Avatar 4 and 5 and 6. Fuck all of those blue people. I fucking hate it. I'll never like it.
Hold
I don't care how
on,
many
guys.
clips and videos you
I
show me.
don't remember. Jesus Christ. Did you watch all of Loki?
Yes.
Okay. That's the only one that connects to this directly.
And I'll be quite honest, I wasn't sold until this new trailer. Now I'm curious. Once again, I'm a sucker for father-daughter stories. So good job, Marvel. You hooked me. I want to see this thing with his daughter. I like the angle. Like, he's fuck saving the world. This is about saving your kid and your family. So if they can pull it off, who knows? Maybe this will be in my top 10, or maybe it won't. But anyways, for this movie, PB, where do you sit with this? Because it feels like to me you enjoyed most of it, but the ending was kind of a mess for you. But would you still give it a good
It
review? I mean,
sounds like Quantum Mania is just like Knock at the Cabin, but with more extravagance, isn't it? If you're choosing
oh
to
yeah,
pick
yeah,
between saving the universe and your family again.
yeah. Good job, Shyamalan.
You're ripped off Ant-Man. Way to go.
No, actually, this came out before Ant-Man was in production before it.
Yeah,
So
but Ant-Man's they've been thinking about Quantum Mania for like how long? Who even knows?
and to be honest, the book was out way before that. So, and this
I've
is based
never
off of the
I've
book.
never read an Ant-Man book. I have no idea if it's good.
So, but no, just for this movie, where do you fall?
I
Like,
will give it a 7.
ooh, honestly, for you, that last 5% really drops it to a 7. That's kind of like, I
Dude,
expect at least seven
no,
point five
like
eight.
shattered expectations, right? Shattered expectations is what knocks it down to a 7 on that one.
Okay, but we can't
Because
agree though.
okay, like that's like okay, you're expecting something. Like, what is the worst post-credit scene in all of Marvel? It's fucking Endgame. It's awful. You just hear the hammer. It's the worst thing ever. So when you're expecting something, just something, you don't know what it is, but you know that something's going to happen. And then you get nothing. That's like, you'll get nothing and you'll like it. I did not like getting nothing.
I mean, and to be fair, that's a fair and valid
Look,
point.
What I said,
Was
that
not.
is solely from my perspective, because if I wouldn't have if I wouldn't have known who did the movie, right? If I only saw the trailer and I was like, oh, well, this family's got to make a choice on whether or not they save their family or they save the rest of the world. What an intriguing concept. Okay. But as soon as you add Shamalama Ding Dong to it, I was like, okay, what's a twist? What's a twist? What's a twist? And then he got me, I guess. His twist was no twist. What a twist.
I mean, if you look at it from that reverse angle, then the twist worked pretty goddamn good because he got you and multiple people.
I mean, he
So
got me. That don't mean I have to like him, but he got me.
So arguably, it might be the best twist we've seen.
I
mean,
guess
if you're playing
if you
3D
give it
chess,
the outside of the box view, yes, it might be the best twist he's ever done.
yeah. Okay, so now you're rating expecting it, which is fair. But say, now let's take that name out of there, right? Just pretend, boom, it's directed by Joe Blow New Guy. What's your rating then?
Oh, then I'd probably end up going up someplace like closer to yours, like maybe 8.5.
See, and this is where I find it interesting because
That's a big point and a half.
I feel like the handicap Shyamalan is always going to have is that you're expecting something like that.
Well, yeah,
and
he
you don't
handicapped
get it.
himself with what he did in his career. Like
Yeah.
if he would have made this movie as the second movie ever, or even the third, because it takes three to have a pattern. So say you have a twist, and then you have a twist, and then you have no twist. Then you're like, okay, well now I don't know are there supposed to be twists, or are there just happened to be twists in those first two, and that's not how he does his movies. But when you did what, a baker's
8,
dozen
9
worth
at
of
this
movies,
point.
damn near, right? Like I don't know the exact number, but it's like pushing double digits. You've done that
Yep.
many. People are expecting stuff from you.
And I think if he does do a pattern of maybe the next 2 films or so with no twist, right? And then does a whopper twist at the end, and I think this is a good way for him to kind of throw people off, because now you could do like you said, rule of 3, right? Do 3 movies with no twist. And then that fucking 4th movie, people go in and they're like, okay,
No twist.
there's going to be no twist. And then bam, you're back on top, M. Night. We've saved your career. You're welcome. We like you over here, okay? And let's be fair. I like how you framed your review, because I feel like you're being completely honest, which you have a knack of doing, right? You are coming from a view that I have seen 95% of the fucking reviews come from. Now, let me ask you from this perspective, because you always call me out, Pikachu. Do you... dude, we're hardcore into spoilers. Turn this off. Wait,
No,
hold
we
on.
got here after the spoilers.
Okay, so before you go any further with spoilers, I have a question. I was told Ron Weasley was in the film. Yes, he is. And his performance is amazing. His performance was amazing. We're not going to spoil it, but just fair warning. So I think that...
you know what? So the whole hitch to this movie was that the family had to Pikachu's.
Okay, cool. So
he was reading the comment and missed my joke, but it's fine.
So here's the thing. I think that you and about 95% of the internet is thrown for a loop. But can I ask you, now I went back and watched this movie. 2 questions.
Did?
One, would you watch this movie again? Like, we know it'll come to HBO Max or something, right? And two, do you think you would maybe change your mind or have a difference of opinion now knowing where the movie goes? And does that kind of change your rating maybe somewhere down the line where you could be like, all right, it's not a 9 or 10, but I could lean into an 8. Like, could you
Well, I
see?
only seen the movie one time, so the odds of me watching it again once it comes out are probably high because it broke the threshold of making it on the rewatch list.
Okay, cool. So it definitely rewatch. And do you think on that rewatch, you might watch it again and be like, you know what? Maybe I was a little bit harsh because, once again, director attached. That's a very fair point, especially if in your
No,
fucking
because I'm
career,
probably going to
that's
get
what you're
pissed
known
off
for.
next time too, because I'm still going to know who the director is next time, and I'll be like, okay, what's the? Oh, that's right, this is the one without the twist.
Okay, now let me frame it differently. What if he does, which is highly unlikely, but what if he does what we said, right? Next 3 movies, no twist. 4th movie, twist. Does that then change how good this movie is for you?
Is it connected to this movie?
I mean, I have a theory that all Shyamalan works are connected. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. He has his own connected universe. He fucking
Now,
proved it.
are they actually connected, or is it just one of those things where it's like, well, there's nothing that says that it's not connected, so it could take place on the same Earth?
I like to think, okay, and you can let me know what you think of your opinion because we both like connected universes. Doesn't it kind of feel like every Shyamalan movie in some way kind of
Well, I
connects
mean, yeah,
together?
it does have that
Like if you
feel, but
watch them all literally.
I assume that comes from it being the same director, so you just end up getting the same feel from that director.
And it almost feels like all of these are different stories within, we'll call it the Shyamalan verse or
Okay,
SV.
pause. You watch American Horror Story, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this one at a time. So, American Horror Story is meant to be, or maybe I should say, was meant to be an anthology series where here is an entire season that's only by itself. And then next season, we're going to do something with the same actors, but completely different. And then season after that, and season after that, they kept doing that over and over again. But then one of the seasons makes you believe that they are all connected.
Yep.
So is it possible that he is doing that at some? Because I would be down for that, for him to be making movies like this, where you don't believe that there is anything like nefarious outside of what's obvious.
Yep.
Like they were telling you the whole time, we're here to prevent the apocalypse. We're here to prevent the apocalypse. You got to do this. You got to do this. And that's exactly what had to happen. So make, like you said, another 2 or 3 movies like this. And then the one after that has how they're all connected and how they're all bullshit. And is just an entire movie that's essentially full of twist reveals.
Oh my God, that'd be the 10 out of 10 movie. That'd be
We'd have to turn it up to 11.
I know. Yeah. And if you look at the way the movies are structured too, like no one, like Split was the one that kind of planted this seed for me that, hey, maybe all of these are connected, right? Because we don't fucking know it's coming. And in all actuality, Split for 99.9% of the movie is straightforward. And it's very isolated, and you're just enjoying James McAvoy and his fucking ability to be a fucking tremendous actor. Please put that guy in more shit. Anyways, off topic, but you're just enjoying the film, right? And then boom, you get to the very last, like you're getting ready to get off your seat. The killer's been caught. You're at the very last moment, and the fucking Unbreakable movie soundtrack plays, and you get that slow pan, and you see Dunn, and you're like, holy shit, this whole time it's all been connected. So I went back through and I'm like, yeah, here's a crazy idea. My favorite comedy of all time, The Happening, right? I do what that movie was.
Ah,
Do what that
yes.
was. Best comedy ever made. So think about this, right? In the movie, Bautista says, this choice has been made by others before you. What if the happening
Yep.
was the first time the choice? It was what? The end of the world, through things people couldn't
What if
control.
they're
They figure it out. It just stops. Boom. The happening actually connects
Yeah,
to
but
not get
okay. I
cabin.
thought the twist at the end of the happening was that it starts happening again.
Yeah, and then it starts happening again, right? So we just we never got the sequel, which I'm sad. That
Okay,
should have definitely
so
got a sequel.
all of the movies is somebody's version of avoiding the apocalypse somehow.
Yeah, you can even go Sixth Sense, Unbreakable. You can work any of those, especially Unbreakable, even if it's superheroes. What are they stopping? The end of the world. What happens in class? Everybody realizes heroes exist. I refuse to believe people would take that so lightly. We never seen what it's after, but people are like, "Holy fucking shit! Like Spider-Man's actually real." Like, because at the end of that movie, everybody knows these unique human beings exist in this world, and that secret organization that kept it secret for years, who could be tied in to keeping other events secret, right? So that's how Knock in the Cabin, no one ever realizes about it, right? Because that fucking organization from Glass is still out there, and they just fucking come in like S.H.I.E.L.D. and cover it all up. Boom, there's our S.H.I.E.L.D. So everything is, man, I need to make a video about this and just do a little timeline thing and show everything, because I just feel like, and if he came out and did that, like, because look, I think Shyamalan is very intelligent guy. He seems very nice. Like when you see the interviews, I can't hate him. When you see him talking and stuff, the man's just so likable. Like, I know he's had bad films, but like then you watch the interviews and you see he's pretty passionate about everything he does. Like, you may not like it. He may not make a good movie to you, but he didn't not try. It feels like everything he does, and I heard a lot of people, and it pissed me off.
Oh no,
So,
I don't think I've ever said anything like that about him, that he's not trying. Just
yeah,
because I'm disappointed doesn't mean that it wasn't a good effort, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't a good movie.
exactly. And the thing that pisses me off, so I watched one review in particular from our friends over at the other corner of the world, and they said it felt like Shyamalan phoned this in. And I heard that from other reviewers too, and I call complete bullshit, because
How?
if you look at the
Okay, I would
camera,
love to know how he phoned it
phoned it in.
in.
Yeah, where exactly do you feel like he wasn't getting 100%? If he phoned it in, Dave wouldn't be acting fucking phenomenal. The little girl, that's good direction. You can't be phoning in a performance. Like, he's the director, right? What is his job? He directs the people on how the scene is supposed to be performed, and he
Well,
pulls the
time and
best.
place.
Yeah. And what does he do? He goes, take number one. Nah, we didn't like that one. Take number two. Take fucking 56. Okay, we'll go with 36. That was the best, right? You could feel he put effort in this. The writers put effort in this. And I got to say thank you for whoever wrote the dialogue, because we know, Shyamalan, I love you, but your dialogue is fucking sucky. Thank you for outsourcing it, because I gotta admit, there was like maybe one thing rewatching it. There was maybe one or two lines that kind of felt Shyamalan, like he snuck one in there. But the movie, for the most part, had really good fucking dialogue. And for a movie where 90% of it is in a fucking cabin, you need good conversation, or your movie falls apart. So to sit here and say he phoned it in, I think is fucking stupid, because the way he pans the cameras to certain things, the tight frame into certain people's faces and stuff like that, the emotion he's asking from his actors, because that's what he's doing. He's the fucking director. He goes, okay, now Bautista, I need you to look like a sad motherfucker for like 90% of this movie, right up to the end, and man, you got to sell in your eyes. We're not going to say anything. You just need to have this look. When they look in your face, you look like you're fucking hurt making this. And Bautista was like, all right, I could do that. And there we go, right? It doesn't feel, if you're phoning it in, how
Thanks,
many things?
Dave.
What were you saying?
Oh, I said thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks again, Dave. But if you're phoning it in, I don't think you get moments where you're feeling emotions, and I hate that. I hate that review where it's like, oh, Shyamalan, clearly his heart wasn't in it. Clearly he was just phoning in a lot of this directing. I like no one does sweeping camera movements or one take shots if they're phoning it in. Like, fuck off with that. I'm sorry. Like, I hate these excuses. Like, if you don't like the fucking ending and wanted a twist, just say, okay, I liked it, but where's my fucking twist? Like you said, right? I was expecting a twist. I didn't get one. I'm disappointed about not having a
Right,
twist. If
just
that's your issue,
because,
say
so
it.
wait a second, because when you brought it up, I assumed you're going to be like, oh, so he can write an entire story, but he can't come up with a twist. He's phoning it in. But that's not
Exactly.
what you said. I was like, okay, well, I guess maybe I could see that perspective for phoning it in. But the way that you described it, it just makes the other people sound dumb.
Yeah. And the way they described it too was exactly that. It's like, oh, it just felt like, a dull, like, okay, I don't like calling people out, but a particular person, and you can see it, they say a dull, mediocre thriller kind of a thing in their title, right? And it's like, okay, maybe
Sounds
you
like it's
weren't.
got a lot of rage to it.
Oh no, it wasn't raged.
Oh,
It actually shocked me because it's one of the more sensible people. So I was
cool.
surprised
Tell
by
me
their take
later.
on it. Yeah, we will say their name is adjacent to a Nordic god. Um, might be the head of the Viking gods.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and we'll go into detail about what was said, but I was disappointed because I was like, I know we both watched the same movie, and I've had this individual on my show, and they, for the most part, have pretty factual, logical takes when I talk to them, and I felt like maybe you went in with a preconceived notion, and like I respect the opinion, but I feel like the way you worded it was wrong because it wasn't worded how you worded it. Like, I felt he phoned it in because there was no twist. It was like a breakdown, like the scenes were just boring and blah blah blah. I'm like, do you know how fucking hard it is to shoot just dialogue? Because let's be real, 80% of the movie is
dude, you
dialogue.
really, right. You really don't, even the stuff that you see, like, we don't see them get tied up. He falls on the ground, and then when he comes conscious again, they're both tied up already. They could have
Ex-
showed that, but it's way easier to move your story along by
I'm
skipping
wrapping it up.
the parts of action that are irrelevant. Like, them getting tied up is not a relevant piece. You don't necessarily need to see it. Whereas when they're, I guess, sacrificing each other, you don't need, although, like you said before, there's no reason why they couldn't show us them getting bludgeoned to death and all of their heads getting chopped off. Like, they totally could have showed that. They decided not to. Okay. But they showed it happen. Like, those are the types of things in that movie that they had to show. But you're right. The movie is based in dialogue.
And I know you, right? You're one of those people where I can assume, right? We both appreciate action at times a lot more over dialogue. But then you got
Well, sure.
situations like Andor or things like that where you can do very good dialogue and the action is the words because it's so intense. That conversation might go south like that. That is where the tension is, right? Because you're sitting there, you're taking everything in. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to expect from moment to moment. It could go from people talking to a motherfucker getting his head lopped off. That it sets the pace so that every conversation is tense. And I think that's where people fail to realize exactly how hard of a movie that is to make. Okay, perfect example. If you've been on my channel, you know I have a couple loves here: Nick Cage and motherfucking Quentin Tarantino. I love all of his fucking movies. I will fight you. I don't give a shit. Uh, all of his movies are genius. Even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you don't like him fucking murdering Manson people, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, that's not the point. The point is 99% of Quentin Tarantino movies, does he have the gore and violence? Yes. Do people die in extremely satisfying ways? Yes. But what is the biggest thing he's known for? The dialogue is so snappy and so fucking greatly written that you can literally sit there. I could listen to hours of conversation in a Tarantino movie because it is so fucking cool the way he writes dialogue. It just engages you so much. Like, for instance, my favorite movie, Reservoir Dogs, right? They're having a conversation about tipping. It is one of the fucking greatest conversations in cinema. I do not give a fuck. That is probably my favorite conversation in a cinematic movie where they're just sitting over there and Steve Buscemi goes, I don't tip. And they're sitting, go, you don't fucking tip. And then they get into the statistics like these waitresses, most of them work minimum wage. They got families to provide for. And he goes, hey, you want me to sign a bill? I'll fucking sign it. You want me to feel bad about their plight? I feel bad. But are you tipping the guy at fucking McDonald's? No. So who says we tip these motherfuckers here, but we don't tip these people here? Or this person gets tips, but this person doesn't get tips. He's like, not my fucking problem. Then the old guy comes, right? He goes, hey, who didn't tip? And he's like, me. And he goes, yeah, we've been arguing for like about this, and he doesn't tip. And he goes, oh, you cheap fuck, throw somebody in. And then he goes, and then he's like, okay, for you, Joe, this one time I'll fucking tip. That's brilliant. That is brilliant writing. And to me, maybe this movie's not on that level, but it still has that quality conversations, the quality talks where you're engaged in everything they're saying back and forth. You want to know what the deal is with these people. You feel Batista's pain. That fucking dialogue at the ending when he cuts his throat, I'm getting choked up just fucking thinking about it. That is the saddest fucking piece. The saddest thing that gets me, kind of like with Tony Stark and the fucking cheeseburgers, okay? The saddest thing about that dialogue, and it all connects, right? When he first gets to the cabin, he looks at the little girl and he's like, my new friend. And then at the ending, he says the same line, but he says, my friends. Eric, Andrew. And I'm just like, oh man, you're his fucking friend, man. I mean, you're gonna fucking kill him anyways. This is like, what the fuck are we
You're his
waiting,
friend
man?
now. You don't have a choice. You have become Leonard's friend.
You're Leonard's friend. Like, you don't friends don't let friends cut their throat. Like, come on. Like,
I
we all learned this.
I don't remember all of their names, but I do appreciate the fact that, at least for an English-speaking audience, like, none of the names are anything ridiculous.
Yeah, it was meant so at that moment in the movie, everybody's names, everybody's played. It's like straightforward, but at the same time, there's a little bit of nuance to it, and I appreciate this film. And you know what? This could make my top 10 list. This is a very good movie. It's a very good movie. It's very entertaining. It's
I don't
very
know.
enjoyable.
My top 10 list is probably going to be something like Cocaine Bear,
Oh yeah,
Cocaine Bear, Cocaine Bear,
but
Cocaine
look,
Bear,
I'm not gonna
Cocaine
lie.
Bear,
Cocaine
Cocaine Bear,
Bear,
Cocaine Bear, Cocaine Bear,
Cocaine Bear does
Ant-Man
have
and the Wasp.
competition. Cocaine Bear does have
Who?
competition, and I'll tell you who you left out of there. Motherfucking Renfield. Nick Cage is fucking Dracula. You can't
Oh,
tell me that ain't gonna be on your list somewhere. I mean, come on. Nick
that could
Cage as
probably
the
make it up to number 9.
I mean, he's got to be there somewhere because that movie's gonna be fucking funny as shit. Like an unhinged
Oh yeah,
Dracula,
and
Nick Cage.
who's plays Renfield?
The dude who plays Renfield is the dude from, I don't know if you ever seen Warm Bodies. He's been in a couple of movies. He's like the
Okay,
actor
yeah.
where you look at his face and you go, I've seen him in a movie, but you can't quite think about where it's from. He's that guy.
No, I've
But he's a good
definitely
actor.
seen the Warm Bodies.
Yeah, I love that movie. So I that's definitely going to be on the list. Cocaine Bears, I'm not going to lie. That's going to be somewhere high. Might be number 1. I don't know. We got to see. I just don't think I am going to hate that
It
movie.
will
What do
be
you think,
number
honey? Cocaine
1.
Bear, number 1?
Hold on.
The bear did coke. That bear is fucked up.
It will be number 1 as long as they don't release Morbius 2.
Oh yeah, Morbius 2 comes out. Sorry, Cocaine Bear. It's Morbin time.
Big time. Like, they can't be helped. Like, as soon as that fucking comes out, it's gonna make $2 more billion.
2 more billion. 2 more billion more than the first one.
Then the first one, which was a more billion.
Yeah, and
It'll be
like
amazing.
it'll be epic. It'll tie everything together. We're gonna have an Avengers for fucking Spider-Man villains. Count me in. Look, Morbius. Let's be real. Morbius wasn't the greatest movie to some people, but you're lying to me if you say you don't want to see a Spider-Man villain team up, all like alternate, and then Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Oh,
Come on, if you don't want to see that,
forgot
you're a
about
fucking
that
liar.
one, Carrie. I forgot about that one. She said, "PB, what about the Mario?"
Yeah, Mario's gonna be good too. So, yeah,
Mario's gonna be amazing, dude. I can't believe that
there's
they're
so many
actually
good movies. It's gonna be
Okay,
hard to make
Mario
this list. I
looks
might
like
have to
it's
go top
going to
20.
be. Hold on. Mario looks like it's going to be a more accurate representation of what the game is than Sonic was.
1000%. Like they already made it animated, so big points there. And then they
Well, I
got the
mean,
little things
Sonic
you jump on.
himself being animated, like Sonic is still animated, and everybody who's from his universe is animated. But I don't know, for whatever reason, they decided they wanted to do the real life thing. So that's what happened. They did with Sonic, they essentially did the reverse of what they did with the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes, my beautiful lady. What are you signaling at, standing like a yogi?
She's signaling you
Okay.
need to finish, so apparently
Yeah.
we gotta wrap her up.
Yeah, so Bitchy has given the death glare, much like Andrew got from Eric. Hey, you know who was the power top on that one? It was Eric.
Correct. Banana.
So seeing as to the whip is being cracked, I'm not gonna argue. Hey, I'm sorry. I take beauty over the beast. That's you, motherfucker. With your epic beard.
Oh, I take. Wait, what? What in the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm picking beauty. You can't see her. She's mystical. The unicorn is
Oh, you're
hiding in her
picking
natural habitat.
your beauty over my beast.
Yes.
Holy fuck! I was like, I have no idea who these people are he's talking about even.
Whew. Oh, did you notice the background's not white anymore? Hey, check out movie of the year right there. We got the. Can you guess what that is?
What that is?
That is the Batman Riddler.
Where's the Captain Marvel poster?
Fucking hidden. You'll never see the Captain Marvel poster. It's bad enough you guys know it exists.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful.
I'm telling Bree. I'll make BB happy. It's hanging on our fucking ceiling in our bedroom, so at night when I go to sleep, I can see it
instead of having to look at you.
It's a plain view, so I could be like, can't wait for the Marvels.
It's gonna be good, guy. Don't think that she can't do it.
You know what? Speaking of which, Brie Larson has had quite a redemption arc. I got to get into that later because I think a lot of people haven't seen all the other crazy actors and actresses lately, and looking at Brie and they're going, you know what? On the whole,
I believe
Brie's making a comeback. It's like on the whole, I don't think Brie Larson, now that we think about it, is even remotely fucking bad when you put her against all of the shitheads we've seen, like Ezra Miller, Alec Baldwin, Amber Heard, General Zod. I mean, all these people have murdered people at one time. So I
I salute you for saving us from the apocalypse. What was his name?
I don't like talking about it. Anyways, we'll just say it's all happened before, and you know what? You go to those fucking Pride days and you fucking enjoy that.
I will.
Enjoy it.
I'll wave my look at my flag. I'll wave my hand.
Right. So, before we go, do you have anything coming up with you and Pikachu? Anything you want to promote before we get the fuck out of here?
Not me and Pikachu.
New funny jokes,
I just
maybe.
YouTube shorts coming out. YouTube shorts.
So you got some funny jokes, because I noticed you tell some
Yeah,
jokes.
we got some more jokes coming out, and then I also have some other jokes that are, just funny shit that I said.
Nice,
What are you
nice.
doing?
So everybody make sure that you go check out Mr. Pop Culture PB's thrilling channel. Check out, he likes humor. Maybe he'll have one with Pikachu. I would love to see a short with him and Pikachu. Make that happen, PB.
Oh, maybe I will. I just got this a little while ago when I received that cupcake.
So there you go. And, congratulations to PB for taking the trip across the pond. Hopefully he's having fun. Hello again, Carrie, I guess live, even though we didn't get a face reveal. Morning kills. Be pretty epic to have a face reveal. No pressure, but still, if you want to do a face reveal.
Okay.
But no, epic stuff. Good job. Thank you everybody for watching. Please, somebody commented from another reviewer channel, and I appreciate that person who commented. You know what? I'm gonna pull up the comment really quick so that I can properly thank them.
guy.
I'm sorry. I like to give props to people who leave me comments. I don't
I
often
get
get them.
that,
It's like
but when you get to the end of the stream, I have a rule. Like, we'll go out on a rule.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me go to my live.
Hold on. So you just get everything prepped and ready, and then you do like the semi-regular morning outro. But then I'm gonna change it.
Okay, so there was why is it not showing up on my actual YouTube? YouTube, what the fuck? Why isn't the comment up there? But yes, thank you for the comments that I have received, and please feel free to leave comments in the comments below, because YouTube recognizes interaction and they like to not show anybody else but douchebags in the algorithm. So make us those douchebags you trust. Get us in that algorithm. And
make us algorithmic douchebags.
And also, everybody knows what I say for these things. Remember, mornings kill.
Only if you go to moviepalette.com, and you can save 15% by entering code ZONE15. And that's on top of any sales they already have. And you help out your favorite villain, General Zod.
So go check it out. And remember, we'll still be here to kill your morning.